Hello.
Hello?
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, mother. With Nery Saenz. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
Welcome to the party, pal.
Steph, Mayor Senior.
Yeah, I don't have to look cute for you.
Oh, no.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah!
And Mike Mercadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla, boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to the annual What's Up Bro podcast, top 10 movies of the previous year episode. We have to include with us, we have, right off the bat, my name is Mike Mercadal. With me as always is...
Nery Saenz.
And we have a special guest with us today, Mike Valdes. A round of applause wherever you are. Please clap if you're driving. Wait till you're safely stopped to remove your hands from the wheel to then...
Try it. Just clap now. Fuck it. Try it.
Yeah, fuck it. Who cares?
Try
yeah.
it.
Whatever.
We're here. We're doing it. I gotta say, in the recap for the top 10 movies episode, I realized not a good movie year for me. I did not watch as many movies as I thought. Before we get into it, thank you everybody for watching us live. If you're in the chat, give us your top 10, your top 10 movies, your hits of the 2024 calendar year. What movie did you see that you loved? Which one was unexpected that you were like, oh, that was a surprise? And which one was kind of a disappointment? But we have our list of things. Thank you for watching us on Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're on Twitch now also. If you're watching this in the future, that's very comforting to know there is one. If you're watching this in the past, how'd you do it, man? What technology are you using to see this before we recorded it? Also, get in the chat and tell us. We would like to know.
And just for the record, if you're watching the video and you have never met Mike Valdes, he's a friend of the podcast, been in a few episodes. But that is Mike Valdes. That is not Jimmy Neutron. Just want to make sure we are on the same page.
Okay. At some point, I do got a blast though. So.
At what point does your hair's gonna like extend out of the frame a little bit? Yeah. And it's just gonna be, I can't wait for that. I can't wait for the day to what was the I'm trying to remember, not Kid and Play, but it was the fucking the clown from Ringling Brothers and Barnum and you remember that guy?
No.
I want you to get that. Oh God, hold on.
No, I immediately thought of Kid and Play. That's who I thought of.
No, because Kid and Play.
I love.
Surprise, they're black, but the hair texture is different.
Well, I also love that Nery went to my generation and was like, he'll get the Jimmy Neutron reference.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
That's usually what people call me, Jimmy Neutron or Johnny Bravo. So it's one of those two.
What? Nery dropped out again.
Big hair.
Yes. Open image in new tab. There he is. Let me share, present.
Hey, look, Yolanda's on.
Yolanda is on.
Yolanda.
Fan favorite.
Yeah. This guy. Oh wait, hold on. This guy. He was that's the guy from what's his name? His name's Bello Knock. He's one of America's best artists and entertainers, America's best clown.
I have never seen.
He looks like Christopher Lloyd in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've
not
never
wrong.
seen that nightmare fuel in my life. That is the
That's not even
Jesus.
that's not even a rough clown. That's like a decent clown. That's not even.
What
a
are you
bad
talking
clown.
about? That is creepier than Pennywise.
He's just a guy.
Yeah, that's creepy, dude.
That is what makes it creepier. Is that it's just a guy with absurd like that's that's just
He's America's best clown. So who's
Can I
right
tell-
and who's wrong? America.
Can I tell you something?
I think we're saying the same thing. America's best clown and super creepy person is the same thing. I think we're talking about
Same guy.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
When I was a kid, there was a complete difference between a clown and a payaso, and that guy is a payaso because I'm afraid of payasos. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like-
you have the phobia. What I forget.
Oh,
I always
yeah.
forget what the actual word is. But you have the
pussy?
clown
Yeah.
phobia. Yeah, you're a pussy. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. But yeah, the idea. Yeah, that's a fair comment, Yolanda. What the fuck? Yeah, I get it. The idea of today's episode was to every year. This is going back generations. We do our recap, our top 10 films of the year.
I think this is either our 12th or our 13th year, man.
Yeah,
of doing the top 10.
I was looking back and I was trying to remember what it was because, hey, this is just easy content for the internet and it's all distracting as the world burns around us. Here we go. What was, Mike, I want to start with you.
Sure.
You have your podcast, Childlike at Best, and you are a pop culture connoisseur, I would say. Like, is that a fair description?
Yeah, I do my best.
In 2024, what was your general, like, big picture cinematic experience like? And what were the stuff that you wanted to see, and what did you end up actually going like actually watching? Because I'll tell you what, I had a lot of did not finishes on the list of movies that came out in 2024. Yeah. So tell me about what is your cinematic going experience, and what was like the environment in which you moved, and then Nery, we'll go to you too. But Mike, what was 2024 like in terms of consuming?
I love this. Okay, so when I move, I'm going to start this. I've always loved going to the movies and stuff like that. But when I moved out to LA back in 2015, movies hit very differently when you're in Los Angeles because people sit through the credits even before, if it's not a Marvel movie, because everybody in that town knows who catered the movie or whatever.
Right. They were looking for their friends' names.
Yeah, everybody cares. Everybody cares about everything, there. And so movies were very specific and things like that. I specifically remember one of my favorite movie-going experiences was Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping. Because it was just so it's still to this day like one of probably the only comedy I've seen in a theater of that multitude that's actually been funny since then, which has been 10 years, which is really sad. But what I want out of a theater going experience is I usually like it to be kind of it kind of depends. Like when it comes to like Marvel blockbuster movies, I kind of like it when there's a lot of people. But if it's a small movie, I like it to little to no people at all. Like when I saw the Iron Claw last year, I was the only one in the theater and I couldn't have been happier. So
essentially what you're saying is you want the cinematic experience, but you don't want the other people there. Like I understand what you're saying. Like there's sometimes it's good, sometimes you just want to sit and watch it.
Yeah, sometimes I just don't want people eating popcorn next to me. You know what I mean?
I mean, we all have our antisocial
I don't want to
things,
hear you chew. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I do.
I
it
want
is loud.
the theater experience, but I don't want other people to have the theater experience. And I don't understand.
It's such a selfish.
The theater experience is. I don't understand why the theater experience is going away because I just don't want other people to have the theater experience that I want to have.
Yeah,
Mike just wants a movie theater for every individual. There's 300 million movie theaters, and everybody goes to their movie theater, and it's like, don't you dare come in my movie theater.
It's called their house.
Yeah, it is.
House, yeah.
So this is also like, this happened last year, and this happened, like, so many of these movies I watched at home. And so many of these movies I watched with the option, like the things I miss the most about the theater going experience is that you're committed, right? Like, I'm not pulling my phone out. I'm there. I'm sitting there. I have I'm hard of hearing, so like I have a hearing aid. So what I do is also get the closed captioning devices, so I can follow along. Like everything is as good as it can be for me to remain focused, right? Like that is the environment. When I'm at home, it's, you know, there's so many distractions. There's like my phone. I'm more tempted to pull out my phone. I'm more tempted to, like, you know, my wife and I, oh, you hungry? Do you want to get something? Whatever. We pause the movie. We don't come back to it. There's more opportunity with home viewing to start something and not finish it. And that was my overarching kind of idea of 2024 was I'm not wasting my time finishing something, or Mike, I got distracted and just not finished it.
Out of curiosity, Mike, when you go to the theaters, I assume you go to an AMC. Do you prefer
the Nicole Kidman ad? Yes, I want that for the old one back. I want the "We come here to be jerked off" or whatever she says. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but you know,
praise to Nicole Kidman. But
yes,
yes. But what I was trying to say was, do you prefer the bigger screen or the better sound? Because AMC has both, and I actually prefer the better sound. That's the hard part, man. I have a 65-inch television, 4K 65-inch television. I have access to literally everything. Literally, like there's like maybe not the immediately the best quality, but like I'm not going to advocate for piracy, but it would be like naive to think that you don't have access to the whole world on that big ass TV in my house. Yeah. I also at home use my AirPods connected to my Apple TV to get. So it's perfect sound, yeah.
I don't, I don't have the AC blowing. I don't have the things going off in the background.
Nobody's eating next to you.
No, my wife is, but you know what? I don't hear her chewing.
You don't hear
because we have the headphones on.
Yeah.
So
you guys are so weird. You guys are so weird. You guys are like, I want you to sit next to me and I want you to watch this movie next to me, but I don't want to fucking know that you're here. I just want you here, but I don't want to know that you're here.
It's the argument that Jason Segel and his fiance have in 5-year engagement, where she's like, I don't want you to leave. Like, I want you to be here. Don't touch me, but like, I still want you to be here.
Right. It's like, I want you. That's that Patrice O'Neal bit where he's like, I don't want you here, but like, I want you around. You know, like that concept of, that Patrice O'Neal bit's great. But no, I don't necessarily. I like, my wife and I watch movies together all the time. We'll watch stuff.
But each of you have your own headphones on.
Not always.
Like you just
I'm sorry, Nery, do you think that because I have headphones on, I can't like reach over and look at?
No, but it's not, but it's the fact that you don't know. Like if you're paying attention to the movie and you have headphones on, and she has her headphones on, there could be a break-in in your house, and you guys wouldn't know unless the robbers walk by your fucking TV. So much less you being next to it. Like, what does it matter who's next to you if you have the headphones thing is like, hey, leave me the fuck alone, right? It's
I think about it differently, but I will say it will come up later in one of the movies that I have on my list that this in fact did happen, where something happened while we were watching it that we were like, hey, wait a minute.
I will say my top movies are movies that needed people to be in the theater. So I will say that. Say that.
All right, we're gonna go on to over 2 hour episode. So let's get it going. We got to get it going. I had a great year watching movies. I'm on cruise ships a lot, so sometimes I had to go to a different country to watch the movie in theaters. If I wanted to watch the movie in theaters, there were some movies that I wasn't able to watch, even though, from what the critics say, I didn't miss anything. But Craven, I'm looking at you. But I still want to see the movies, but I didn't get a chance to see the movies. But for the most part, I enjoyed this. I thought this was a better movie year than the previous year.
Okay. Interesting. Because that was not my like. Also, I had a big TV year. There was a lot, there's so much to watch.
I had a bigger TV year in 2024
year.
I had a bigger TV year in 2024, but I made it a point to be like, well, let's go watch some movies. And then when the Oscars nominations came out a few weeks ago, I went and watched the movies that I felt were interesting to me that were nominated. Like I'm like, oh, I haven't heard about this movie. Let me go watch it. Let me go check it out. But I also there was a bunch of Oscar nomination movies that I'm like, that sounds I'd rather watch paint dry.
Yes, yeah.
To be fair, some of
but
those
anyways,
movies are
we
watching.
move on. Let's get to our number 10. This is the way it goes. We go around the horn. We pick them. We each talk about our movie. If you have a movie higher on your list, just table it. You just say table, and then we will talk about it when it's at the highest point of the list. So if my number 10 is Craven and your number 7 is Craven, if I say, hey, my number 10 is Craven, you say table, and we can't moving on. I'm saying this for the audience so the audience knows.
Right, yeah.
Let's get it going. We'll try to do no spoilers. If you can avoid spoilers, let's avoid spoilers. If not, I get it. Some of these movies have been out for a year. Number 10, Mike, Valdes, hit me with your number 10.
I'm gonna go artsy fartsy. I'm gonna go with The Brutalist is my number 10.
This is on my to watch list because it came out like not it came out close to the end of the year, right? Like just now recently. Yeah, so it's on my watch list. I really like the idea of it. What was your experience with it?
So it's another one of those Adrian Brody survives the Holocaust movies. Yeah. And that's basically
Isn't he like 2 for 2 with those movies, like getting an Oscar? Like he's like 2
Nikki
for 2.
Glaser had the funniest bit about it where she was like, 2-time Holocaust survivor Adrian Brody is here.
Yeah, that was
like.
By the way, she did a great job.
Oh my God, she's so good.
Super good.
But anyway, it's he's an architect, and essentially he has a substance abuse problem, and won't give anything away. But let's just put 2 and 2 together. You know, people with substance abuse problems, usually it doesn't end well.
The name of the movie is Brutalist.
Yeah. It's pretty brutal. Pretty brutal.
So let's just go on a limb and say that he doesn't hand out turkeys on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So let's just say it's right after the Holocaust, and he's a heroin addict. What else do you need? Like it's pretty heavy. It's also my only critique is, and this is for a lot of movies, we need to make movies shorter. Like
that is okay. Yes, we'll get to that.
Because this movie, I could have cut out an hour and a half and everybody would have got what I was trying to say. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean the acting wasn't good. To be completely honest, like the standout performances for me were actually not Adrian Brody. It was Felicia.
Rashad.
No, not Felicia Rashad. Felicia Jones. Felicia Jones, who plays his wife, and Guy Pearce is phenomenal in this movie, and he's the villain in this movie. He's fucking phenomenal in this movie. Other than that, like that's really it's not something I don't want to give anything away. It is definitely worth the watch, especially if you are somebody who likes the A24, stereotypical like drama about things that happen that are depressing. It's very much an Oscar bait movie. Like that's just what it is. Like let's call a spade. Like it's an Oscar movie. It's a movie that's made to make people feel bad so it gets a trophy. But yeah, I was really impressed by that. There was one scene, this isn't spoiling anything. There's one scene, bro, that I was like, oh my God, if this isn't a line that reminds you that we're in 1927, I don't know what else is. There's a scene in the movie where he replenishes redoes a millionaire's entire library. Okay. And the end price with materials and labor is $2,000.
Oh my God, it's like offensive. It's like fuck
and
dude.
I was like, dude, that is a $500,000 job at least today. Like
so annoying. So annoying.
So
oh boy.
But yeah, that's my number 10 is The Brutalist.
Number 10. Nary, what do you got number 10? Right. Is it also a Holocaust survivor movie? Although I do like I do like Yolanda's taste. I'm leaning towards apocalyptic movies. She's getting ready. I'm like, you know what? Not a bad call.
Yeah.
What do you got for number 10?
That's actually the worst call. That's actually the worst call. It's like, oh, I'm getting ready for depression with depression. It's like, what? Okay, that's a weird one. All right. To each his own.
You gotta prepare. You gotta prepare.
So I'm trying to fight recency bias because I just watched a movie this morning. I just watched a movie this morning, and I'm like, oh man, so I'm gonna go ahead and say, yeah, all right. So you know what? I'll save that one for later. My number 10 right now. No, I'm gonna pull the trigger, man. My number 10 is heretic
table.
Pronounce that right?
A table for me too.
Yes,
Holy
table.
crap, that movie's so
Heretic
good.
table.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's so funny because again, I just saw that movie this morning. And my number 10 was going to be Twisters. And I'm like, somebody will have Twisters. We'll talk about Twisters some other time. And then I said Heretic, and then both of you had it. Fuck.
Yeah. Heretics on there. That movie's great. Yeah. My number 10, I'm going to go with, I had a lot of horror movies on my list this year. Because horror got a lot of my attention. I'm going to go with Late Night with the Devil. Did y'all watch Late Night with the Devil?
I didn't see it. Please tell me about this. Yeah.
Okay.
I never even heard of it.
Oh, it's okay. So it is so I got to preface all of this by saying I didn't watch a lot of movies. Of the movies I watched, I didn't finish a lot of movies, and of the movies I finished, they're not all good. they're not great. Honorable mention to Roadhouse. I saw that in 2024.
Roadhouse, the remake.
Shout out. Shout out to
that's eligible. Fuck, hold on. Never mind.
It is eligible.
It is eligible.
I went through
Heretic.
the list.
Scratch Heretic off my list.
Good Lord. The irony.
Scratch Hugh Grant's best performance.
Yeah.
for the
Late Night with the Devil is hold on, let me find with the Devil. David Dalmastian. The movie is about like kind of a 70s era talk show host who does a full like seance there's like a girl that can speak with the dead and is connected to like there's a full like conniption like it is like if Johnny Carson or like Dick Cavett or like that era, which I love the style of it, it was super cool, was doing like a live episode where they had like the devil on through through possession, right? And the whole premise is like, is it real? Is it fake? Whatever. And then it just kind of goes off the rails, like live TV. And it was going. My wife and I have decided that going in blind to movies it has to happen. Like if you there's so much of stuff that is ruined by like even if it's something that you don't not even by trailers, stumbling on these movies as they're like presented either like on the menus or by like something I saw like in an ad, or as soon as I see something that catches half of my attention, I'm like, God, I write it down on a list and I'm like, that's our watch list, because I went into this blind and I loved it. I don't think my wife liked it as much as I did, but I loved it. And the vibe was a good movie.
Well,
it's
was
top
she
10
nodding
on my list.
when you looked over and she was wearing her headphones? Was she nodding like you were? Or
I mean, we'd have to have Chiquita on to do her own opinions. I'm not going to speak for.
She's like,
to piggyback off of you for a second. My top 3 movies this year are movies that I knew little to nothing about. Right? Yeah, like that's So for me, I'm gonna have to go with like a lot of horror stuff, but for sure the Late Night with the Devil is number 10 and was super like a solid experience because I went in blind, and that matters to me. Yeah, not the unexpected makes things better. Certain movies I didn't put on here because I didn't enjoy them because they had been promoted to me to death. If that makes sense. 100%. Yeah.
Sure.
So that's our number 10s.
All right.
Is anybody writing this down? Should we be writing these down?
Yeah, Mike, number 9.
My number 9 is going to be a holiday movie.
Ooh.
It's going to be The Best Christmas Pageant Ever is my number 9. It is a movie. Have you never heard of this movie?
No, is this a Hallmark movie? I've never heard of this.
No. It's it had a wide release. It's actually Lionsgate's highest grossing movie of Lionsgate's history, I think. Which is crazy because it's basically just a movie.
What is the name of this movie? What did you say? What was it?
The Best Christmas Pageant Ever. It stars Pete Holmes and Judy Greer. And Judy Greer they're both parents with children who go to a church, and essentially the bad kids at the church want to be a part of the Christmas pageant, and all the people in church are offended that the bad kids are gonna like screw everything up, and all this stuff. And it's just a really I was really touched by it because it was my childhood. Like, that's how I grew up. Like, I felt like one of those kids growing up in that church, and I also felt like one of the outsiders growing up in that church at the same time. And also, like, it's like legitimately funny, like in certain parts it actually is legitimately funny. I mean, of course, it's a movie made for children, so it's not like the greatest, comedy of all time, but like it's like it was an instant holiday classic where it was just like, wow, like why haven't they made a Christmas movie like this in so long? And like it was kind of nice. It was a breath of fresh air in a lot of ways. And so yeah, I really enjoyed it. Also, another thing too, obviously the whole thing is about a Christmas pageant and, Jesus and all that stuff. This movie is clearly a Christian movie, but it is not constantly telling you, or even at all telling you, we are a Christian movie. This just happens to be the circumstances of this story. And because it's just a regular ass movie. There's with cursing and stuff in it. Like, but it's just like, it takes place in a church, so like, that's all. Which I really appreciated, because there's a thing that Christian movies have where they almost feel like a Disney Channel original movie, where you're just like, this doesn't feel real. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about it. Like the actors,
I don't know, man.
Like
I don't want to insult nobody, but also, you know what else doesn't feel real?
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
No,
you know what else feels as phony baloney as it gets?
Oh, trust me.
Christmas.
No, I get it. Yeah. Jesus.
But it's true. But it's true. Yeah. Yeah. So that's my number 9. Also, I just love a movie where Judy Greer is the lead and Pete Holmes is in it. Why not? Judy Greer should be the lead more.
Judy, I love Judy Greer. Yolanda says, like Nery said, to each his own, and that we are a welcome distraction. Hey, you know what? If we live to be anything, it's to be a welcome distraction. That's kind of our vibe.
That's actually my career motto.
That's the whole point. What is FUBAR for fun? Yolanda.
Fucked up beyond our recognition.
Yeah, but is that for fun?
Yeah, well, she's saying that it's. I'm assuming that she was talking about the getting ready, the movies that she's watching for the end of the world.
She was listening. She was like, FUBAR. Oh, it was a movie. Oh, band movie 2020, 2002. Okay. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Anyway, everything is FUBAR. We get I guess that's what she meant. Anyway, Nery, what your number 9? I wonder how much of your our stuff's gonna get tabled.
It's not. I have a really good mix. I have a really good mix of like blockbusters and then movies that people have never heard of, which include my number 9. My number 9 is a independent movie called Sweet Dreams. It is with Johnny Knoxville, Jay Moore, who is it? What's his name from the Asian guy from the podcast?
Bobby Lee.
Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
Bobby Lee. Yes.
Bobby Lee. It is a movie about a recovering
He's an
Johnny
alcoholic or a
Knoxville plays
drug
a
addict?
recovering alcoholic.
Yeah, that's what
He's
it is.
No, he's an alcoholic. He's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And then he goes in, but everybody has their own issues. He goes into a halfway house, and then it turns into like a baseball game movie, and it's a whole thing. But it's really well grounded, really well made. The acting is fantastic. And when I was watching this movie, it was really kind of like what Valdes just said. It was like a breath of fresh air. It was just like
Interesting.
old school, no special effects, just good writing,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. It feels like they made this movie for it looks like the cater BYOB, like bring your own lunch type of deal, like just bring your own bag of lunch
Right.
to the catering of the set. But I really dug this movie a lot. It had a lot of heart. It was interesting. It was well acted. And for someone who doesn't really have any addictions other than fast food, it was really enlightening. Like, oh, this is what it is, and this is the way. It felt real. So, Sweet Dreams, Johnny Knoxville.
That's nice.
It's a feel good movie, right? It's like it made you like. Am I on a delay?
No, I think Nery froze. But I'm looking at the credit. I'm looking
like a
at
feel-good
the.
movie.
I think Johnny Knoxville's underrated. I don't think any of
Me
these.
too, man.
I think Johnny Knoxville's underrated.
Screw the fact that he did The Ringer and played a.
I mean, like I also think that also The Ringer I don't think is as bad as people say it is. Like
No,
he was
it's
doing.
not.
It's
First of all,
literally
The
he
Ringer,
plays the bad
just
guy.
to let you know, The Ringer, he still maintains friendships with the actual physically and mentally handicapped people that were in that movie, and they all praised him. That whole
thanked him
that
for it.
that
They
part
were
of
like, yeah.
society
Yeah.
actually thanked him for it. Yeah, it's great. But I will say it's a feel good movie, but it has its heavy moments. It's like a feel good movie that ends up becoming a feel good movie, but it starts off with a heavy.
Sure.
Johnny Knoxville
Well,
is
yeah,
in the program,
the
kind of.
subject matter, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
he starts the program kind of against his will because he got to a point where he lost custody of his daughter. So that's how so it's heavy, but it becomes a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's rated pretty well. People, like 69% on Rotten Tomatoes is not terrible for like a movie that has Theo Vaughn in it, like and
Sure.
Bobby Lee,
Yeah.
But it's actually pretty interesting. That might be one that I watch. I like this guy. Let me bring up. I think Johnny Knoxville's underrated. I watched.
I do too.
Oh, it didn't come out this year, but I did watch. He did a movie about Action Park in New Jersey. I watched a documentary about Action Park.
Yeah, class action lawsuit.
Class Action Park or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That documentary was
yeah.
really, really good. I love that. That's a shot. That's a movie I watched this year, but it didn't come out this year. But yeah, that movie's great.
They had to
Honorable mention.
legally call the movie Action Point or something.
Yeah, it was. They had to change the name, but he's in that movie too.
And all those stunts are real. It's nuts. Like
I respect the hell out of that dude, man. Like
Yeah,
I
me
kind of my number 9. I'm gonna continue. This one is not an independent film, but it is also not a special effects thing. It's low on my list, but it's nominated for an Oscar. I'm gonna go with Conclave.
Okay.
Anybody got Conclave?
No.
It's about
Yeah.
it's about the
table.
Okay.
Table.
Conclave
Table.
table. Okay. All right.
It's so funny because
guess-
in both Conclave and Heretic, I both was thinking while watching each of these movies, I was like, Mike would love this.
Yes. hey, all right. That would be like the opposite if they were like, Borderlands, Mike would like this, and it's like straight trash, and you're like, Mike likes garbage.
No, but it's literally like anything that questions the religion. Mike is gonna love this. Like I just immediately was like,
it doesn't question it doesn't question God in any way. It questions Catholicism.
We'll talk about it later.
Got it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
I said the religion. I said what I said. I didn't specify God. I said religion.
Yes.
I will say. I will also say this. The way that you said it, Nery, was perfect because you said while I was watching this, you were like, Mike would like this, and I actually completely agree. Mike, Mike, I would like it.
Multiple
if that's-
mics
yeah,
are
like,
approved.
because I love Heretic. I have not seen Conclave, but I want to.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
we'll talk about
I
it
just
now.
said Mike will like this. I didn't specify which Mike. The fact that Mercadal
Yeah.
immediately thought of himself just goes to show you how
Yeah.
into himself he is.
It
But
was, my
I just said
choice.
Mike will like this.
My choice. So, yeah. So, table on Conclave. Fubar is an Arnold Schwarzenegger series. I had not heard of this, but it's a Schwarzenegger
yes.
series. Okay.
Yes, I know this series. I only saw one episode, but yes. I know
Well,
this series.
there you go. So that brings us to number 8. Valdes, what is your number 8?
Number 8 is A Real Pain, Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. Is that anybody's?
That is one that I did not finish.
Sure.
Yeah.
I completely understand because other than Kieran Culkin's performance, it could seem very boring. So I completely get it. I mostly just really love that movie because Kieran Culkin just knocked it out of the park.
Right. So
You know.
this is the category of movie that my wife watched it, and then my wife wanted to watch it because she likes the Kieran Culkin from Succession.
Yeah.
And
And,
it is
and Home Alone, of course.
Of course, Home Alone. He is Scott Pilgrim, of course.
What was the movie? I'm sorry, I have to get out for a second. What was the movie?
A Real
movie-
Pain.
A Real Pain, the one with Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. And it's a very talky movie, am I right, Valdes?
Very much so. Yes, very
super
much so.
talky.
It is a, as I like to call it, it is a actors be acting movie.
Yep. Well, well, there's a few of those on my list.
Same, yeah.
yeah. Where you're watching this, and there's times when I'm watching with my wife. We're both in our headphones, but we can still communicate. That I say that I turn to my wife and I'm like, man, these people are acting.
Oh,
These people are acting. You know, like John Lovett's acting. You know, like yeah, it's like that.
100%. Yes.
It's about two dudes that they're family and they go to Poland to trace some family history. Is that what it?
So their grandmother dies and they want to take the cremation. They want to spread the ashes back in Israel. So they go back to Poland, excuse me. So they go to Poland and they go to her house. And it's interesting, but it's mostly just a talky movie about family drama and just being an outsider and again, Kieran Cole.
Oh, we lost Valdes. Kieran Culkin.
Just like what?
I hope it's not me.
But I don't think
we
it
lost-
is
we
you
lost
because I can still hear you.
Yeah, we lost Valdes.
But I like the fact
Michael,
that mine is not the worst Wi-Fi on the podcast.
I know something happened to change things. No.
Okay. Am I here?
No, you're back. Yes.
Yeah, you're back.
I'm
You're
sorry.
back.
I'm sorry. So
Oh, you froze
This is
again.
always- This is always the best. Yeah, this is
did I
always
freeze
the best.
again?
Yeah.
So, they go back to Poland. They're doing the ashes, but it's a lot of just like dialogue discovery, a lot of exposition of family history,
history, and
Yeah.
how Kieran Culkin's grandmother, the one that passed away, was the only person that truly understood him, and he was very. You find out towards the end. Again, I'm not spoiling anything because this movie is in a lot of ways about nothing. But he was very suicidal because he lost her, and things like that. And Jesse Eisenberg is quite the opposite, where he has a very happy life with kids and a wife in New York City, and like Kieran Culkin is getting kicked out of houses and hostels, and sleeping at the airport, and things like that. Yeah, my only thing is I didn't. There are people that do like it. I just did not like the ending. I think the ending is very open-ended, and I kind of wish that there was a little bit more closure with Kieran Culkin's character. But to be fair, the whole reason why you like him is because you don't know what's going to happen to him. You know, so
was it one of those you decide the ending movies?
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, it's the Jesse
Inception?
Eisenberg. Yeah, it's the Jesse Eisenberg's Inception, because Jesse Eisenberg wrote and directed it as well. So it's like his version of Inception. So yeah, in a lot of ways, man, I think that Jesse Eisenberg is the new what's that guy that married his daughter?
Woody Allen.
Woody Allen, except he isn't a horrible person.
That we know of.
Yeah, that we know of. Yeah,
that we know of.
Let's wait until he's 60. But
I don't know, man. Woody Allen would have made a great Lex Luthor.
Yeah, fair.
Wow. Yes.
Fair.
What a pull. You know that's the separating the Woody Allen. The person, that's one of those that it's hard because the art from the art form,
100%,
and the art from the era. Like if you watch Annie Hall, it's very much of a specific time. Yes. Even all the creepiness, you know, or certain like I love like Midnight in Paris is a wonderful movie and I love it, and it's like very of a specific, but it's like it's very of a point of view, you know.
Yeah,
and it is an artist's movie.
White.
But if you separate,
it's very white.
Yeah. Well, it's very French. It's very like European.
It's a very specific point of view. White, white.
Well,
to be fair,
all right. I'm trying to move it along because we're trying to get this within 2 hours. So
yeah, fair enough.
That was your number.
Nery,
8.
what's your number
Mike?
8?
Yeah, that was my number 8. Yeah.
All right. So my number 8 is Beverly Hills Cop Axel F.
Honorable mention for me. I actually finished
as you can see, my list is kind of all over the place. I have artsy fartsies, I have independents, I have box, I have big blockbusters, and then I have Axel F. Axel F to me is the very definition of what a great sequel is supposed to be. It gives you some of the old school, like what you loved about the original movie. It gives you some new stuff. It doesn't stagnate and be like, look, just bigger explosions than last time. It does have explosions, but it has a story, it has an actual story. There's been long enough time has passed between the last movie and this movie so that they can introduce new characters like his daughter and it not be like, what the fuck? He has a daughter? We never heard about her. Like I think it worked out very well. And it was very much, if you liked the original Beverly Hills Cop and Beverly Hills Cop 2 specifically, you would like this. You would like Axel F. I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. It was just a fun fucking movie. Like that's all it was. It was a fun.
That's all it has to be. And I had a great. I enjoyed that movie. Watching it, it did feel like, because it was supposed to be the pilot of a TV show or a series, like a season of TV. It did feel like there were certain parts that felt fast, and that's a thing that I have a complaint about in the era 2024 and the making of movies versus TV, where there's certain movies that should have been TV shows, and there's certain TV shows that should have just been a movie. Like Marvel has a big problem with that with me. Axel F, I was ready for that to be like a season of television. Like they could have done that movie 6 hours. Like,
well,
you talk about movies that are too long.
He tried to make the TV show. He tried to make that TV show a few times, and for whatever reason, it just kept not happening. So yeah, he's tried.
But that's the I think maybe we've talked about it on the show before. But that was my take on Axel F. It was good. I should have put that on my list, but I didn't.
I wanted to have a good mixture of like fun. I wanted to have a good mixture of like just fun popcorn movies that I enjoyed, and then like artsy fartsy, and I wanted to have like a deeper, like this meant so much to the art form of filmmaking, and which is not what Axel F is. Axel F is just a fun movie. But I dug the fuck out of it. I had a good time.
Speaking of super fun, just chilling movies, I'm gonna go. My number 8 is Immaculate. Another weird. I would. Did anybody watch Immaculate?
I did not.
I don't even know
It
what movie. I don't even know
was
what movie you're talking about.
Sydney Sweeney playing a nun.
Oh, never mind. Yeah,
Like
garbage.
a haunted nun.
I can't take it.
This movie was super interesting.
No, it's not
to
about
me.
her. It's not about the movie. I don't mean to judge the movie. It's just she's such a bad actress to me. Like she's so bad in everything I've seen her in, and I just love her tits. I get it. I understand why she's a big star. I'm not confused as to why she how do they keep putting her in stuff? Yeah. But she's just so bad in everything I've seen her in. And Madam Web, she was
oh my god,
tabled.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
In Madam Web,
what do you
she
mean?
was up there for like the worst part of Madam Web, man. She was just really bad. So good.
Yeah, so this movie, you're right. It would have been good with anybody in it. That she's not important to the look at Yolanda. Nery. Also not a bad pull. I don't know if this is gonna get tabled, but the Wild Robot. Nice.
Yes,
nice
that is a very good one.
The Immaculate would have been the story. God, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah.
But the whole point of the
or just
movie,
talk about the acting and talk about you know you don't have to give a story detail. You don't have to give us an synopsis.
Well, that's the part that
I
enjoyed the most. The story because it was an unusual take. The take that they did for being a religious movie. It was very something I hadn't thought of before. Mm-hmm. Where you know what the whole premise is that some geneticist find like the story is told through this nun having these like horrible visions at night, nightmares and all that stuff. It's very, very like in her head, and then what it's revealed to be is that she's being drugged, and they impregnate her with the DNA from one of the nails of the cross of Jesus, and they're trying to bring Jesus back through genetic artificial insemination.
It's like the religious Jurassic Park.
It's like the religious Jurassic. Yes, Nery.
Man,
yes,
that is such a good take. Honestly.
It's such a good take. I was like, wait, what? They sequenced
You didn't realize
DNA.
why you love this movie so much? All they were missing was the nail was stuck in amber.
Yes, so the whole point
you like
is that
Jurassic Park, man.
It's not a horror. Yes, I like Jurassic Park. That's what it is. But it was such. I remember. I've ruined the twist for you, for everyone watching this. But that made it so good for me. Like everybody who didn't watch this movie didn't give her the chance because of this girl. It would not exist without this girl because she was also one of the producers. But the story was such a unique take that I was like, what? It was genuinely all of the horror elements were her being drugged and artificially inseminated against her will. So she was being drugged and having all of these horrible visions and all these crazy things. And then there's other nuns so then she's immaculate conception because she technically didn't, the whole point was that she didn't. So they're trying to bring back the second coming of Jesus through art of, it was such a good take. It was such a good take. And
the second coming.
The second, yes, Nery, all the puns.
It's interesting.
It was such a good take. I liked it a lot.
It's.
Do you think it's a more difficult job as a producer when you're a bad actress? Do you think that like it's harder as a producer?
She plays the same person in every movie.
This scene sucks. Like this actress sucks. Yeah, but that's you. Like I know, but I can't do anything about it because I'm a producer. Like, do you think it's harder as a producer?
It's like
you know how when actors do that, they go, I put my producer hat on, I take my actor hat off, I put my producer hat on. Do you think her producer hat knows that she's a shitty actress?
No,
the director,
she's probably the same producer as she is an actress.
Yeah, no, the director is the one the one wearing the director hat is like, I wish we could fire the actor, but the actor is wearing the producer hat right now.
Yeah,
you know,
son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. Valdes. So that was my number 8. Moving to number 7, Valdes. What's your 7th pick of the year?
My 7. You know what? I took it out of my list, realizing. Bro, I'm gonna say this. It took me a long time to come up with 10 movies that I even kind of liked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair.
Because it wasn't until because really the top 5 are my like, holy shit, these movies are amazing. But 7, I'm just gonna go with this. I'm gonna take a page off of Nery's book and just go popcorn. Beetlejuice. I liked it.
I still haven't seen it. I
haven't seen it either. It's on my to watch.
I was waiting to watch it with my wife, but she has her headphones on all the time, so I don't know if that makes a difference. So I don't
understand. I don't understand what you think is going on.
I liked it. It was good. The thing that I loved about it was that Michael Keaton is in it as much as he is in the first one, which is beautiful. That was a huge thing that I was worried about, was that now that they all know that Beetlejuice is iconic, the whole movie's going to be Beetlejuice. But it wasn't that at all. He's in the movie maybe 12, 13 minutes, just like how he is in the first one. It's more a movie about Winona Ryder. Catherine O'Hara is a gem. Like, she's Catherine O'Hara.
Now, I haven't seen the movie, but do they explain how Alec Baldwin had gained so much weight as a ghost? Do they explain that?
No, they do explain why Catherine O'Hara's husband is a pedophile, though.
Oh yeah, well that was the thing, right? Like they couldn't really. That dude genuinely is a villain. Like he was a monster, was a pedophile, and he had like
and he was in every movie. Just
he was in Howard the Duck. He was in
Life
He was in a bunch of different movies.
Ferris
so
Bueller.
It's hard to
you
go
look back
Ferris
at Ferris
Bueller.
Bueller. Like what principal would follow you wherever you were going? Like what principal cares that much about one student? Like that's weird. It's actually I will say this, it isn't spoiling anything because it's very beginning of the first act kind of stuff, and this is why Catherine O'Hara is such a gem. So she retells the story of what happened to him and how he died, and you could tell she improvised the whole story.
That's great.
Because it's like he fell off a tree while bird watching and then he died. No, then he got on an airplane and then the airplane fell down and then he died. No, and then he fell into the water, was drowning, and they were like, "Oh, he drowned to death." No, a shark ate him.
That's so great.
And what's so great fantastic. Is they go back to Tim Burton kind of Nightmare Before Christmas animation, and they animate the whole story. So it's super funny.
That's
it's super
really
funny. So yeah,
I'll watch it today, man. I'll watch it today.
It was fun. It's fun. It's a fun movie.
I like that. That's awesome, man. That's what an interesting pick. I've been hesitant to watch it because there's something about like that again, the hype. Like I knew too much going in, like it was promoted so aggressively. Jenna Ortega, again, kind of playing the same character in a lot of things, is like, whatever, but I'll give it a shot. Nery, what is your number 7 pick?
My number 7 is another movie that none of you have watched, and I believe 14 people in the country have watched this movie. It's called Knox Goes Away. And to daisy chain off of Beetlejuice, it is Michael Keaton. Is a Michael Keaton vehicle. He directed it. It is his directorial debut.
Oh, okay.
It's Knox Goes Away. He plays a hitman that has aggressive dementia, so he has to get his shit in order. Whoa. He has to get all his things in order before getting out of the game. But before doing that, his son fucks up and does something that pulls him back into the game, but yet he can't tell anybody that he has dementia because, he's a fucking hitman. So there's not exactly like this thing. Yeah, it's super interesting, super well written, super well acted. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know if he wrote it. But it's super well done. Al Pacino.
He had a good year.
Al Pacino has a cameo.
He also had Goodrich as well, which is super good in arts. Well, like Mike Keaton had a great year this year.
What is
and the Flash?
Yeah, and the Flash. Hey man, I watched the Flash again.
He did good in the Flash.
He's the best part.
What the fuck?
I watched the Flash recently, and it's fine. It's fine. It's
a good movie.
I love.
It's just fine.
Supergirl's dope. It's just fine. It was great. It was just fun.
Super dope.
Without
Supergirl was the best part of that movie, and I legitimately got upset when James Gunn
100%.
recast her.
He has to recast her. He has to recast.
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to.
He
doesn't.
Fine. But the whole point of that is that he. Anyway, we're talking about Knox Goes Away, which does sound super interesting. I want to say now. Look,
super cool.
I will say it does in fact say 2023, not 2024.
Well, that was because it came out of Sundance. That's because it came out of it was released at Sundance in 2023, but it was in actual distribution in the U.S. in March of 2024.
Okay. Touche.
I've done my homework.
Same thing happened with one of my movies. It's an honorable mention though, but it's Hundreds of Beavers. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Oh no!
Oh, I've seen that porn.
No,
it's I would actually recommend it. I actually, believe it or not, that was a movie when I was watching it. I was like, man, Nery would like this movie. Because it's a good movie.
Which Nery? I don't want to get ahead of myself.
No, you Nery, you would like it. It's a basically a live action Looney Tune. It's a silent movie, but it's just all physical comedy, and it's really good. I would highly suggest it. But anyway.
100 Beavers. All right. Make sure to not click the wrong link.
Yeah.
It's wicked.movie, not wicked.com.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about the scandal.
Yeah.
I want to put my number 7 again with the caveat of I did not watch that many movies and I enjoyed this experience, the whole part of it. I'm gonna say that it is. It's not a bad movie, but it is following in the horror theme. Quiet Place Day One.
Oh, cool.
Quiet Place Day One.
Why do you have to give a disclaimer for Quiet Day? Like you give a disclaimer for a movie that people have seen.
No, this is. So did anybody watch it?
No.
I did it only because of time, but I know about it. It was a wide release movie. It wasn't like this.
This is why I was so engaged in the movie. Okay, my wife and I are watching it with our headphones on, and we are watching it. As we're watching it, the movie is about the Quiet Place universe, but what happens on the first day when the aliens finally attack? They come in, right?
First attack.
So the first attack, the Mars attacks. So it takes place in New York City. It has Lupita Nyong'o. It has what's the dude's name? He's the Fantastic Four now. I forget his name. But they're doing their they're just stuff's happening, and it's one of those spectacle movies that lots of shit happens, lots of explosions, lots of loud noises, lots of monsters, lots of damage, and then all of a sudden we're like, wow, this sounds. Nery would love this movie. But it's also got, a little bit of heart or whatever. And there's genuinely like a building of tension throughout the story part of it while all the spectacle is happening. But in the middle of the movie, we're about an hour or 45 minutes in, I'm like, wow, the sound in this movie is amazing. Wow, so there's explosions. But then an explosion happened that doesn't match what's happening on the screen. And what we realized, my wife and I, because we had our headphones on, there was a fucking RV that exploded outside on the street that was in flames, that was fully engulfed in fire. And we were like, wow, this movie's pretty good. This movie's great.
That's insane.
I could feel the heat. Is this a new technology that we could feel?
I was like, this is better than AMC, I think. Where's Nicole Kidman? It was legitimately astounding that we were like, what's happening? And we were like, boom, bang, boom. We're like, wow, this is pretty great. This movie's good. And all of a sudden we were like, wait, what's happening? We look outside and there's a giant fire.
You heard it here first. The LA fires happened because Mike Mercadal was watching A Quiet Place 1.
That is 100% day one, A Quiet Place. So what I say all that to say, I have informed my watching experience of this movie where I'm like, man, if an explosion, like, I don't know what would happen if I was in an emergency like this situation. It made us all think about what, like, my wife and we were like, what would we do? Like, if all of a sudden everything starts blowing up, because it did.
Mike was living LA Fires day one.
That's what I'm saying.
LA Fires day one.
That's what I'm saying.
Bonkers. Yeah. But yeah, it was wild. Like I liked it so much because, and it's also like it was a good disaster movie. It was a good, like any of those.
Did you like the other Quiet? Where would you rate it in comparison to the other Quiet Place movies?
Yeah.
Well,
where would you rate
the
it?
first one? I really enjoyed the first one because I saw it again. No knowledge going in. The first one's great. I haven't seen the second one, and this one was just one that we were like, oh, it's out, let's watch it, and it was like,
oh, okay,
yeah. So it's second to the first one, but it was really good. The what's his name?
And the real RV
Lupita Nyong'o, Joseph Quinn is the guy's name. Lupita Nyong'o is great in everything, but she was also like, yeah, I don't want to say, but yeah, she's like. She's really solid. Everything in the movie was really solid. The special effects were solid. The choices that people make were dumb, which is perfect for these kind of movies.
Yeah,
like where like they're scared, so they do something. And you're like, why the fuck would you do that? Like that is
going up the stairs, not walking out the door. Like
perfect, yeah. But that makes the movie good.
Of course, yeah.
So that was my straight up multi-sensory experience for Quiet Place Day One. Valdes, what do you got for number 6?
I'm gonna make it quick because it'll be tabled. Gladiator 2.
No. Nope.
It's not tabled for Nery?
Nery? Did Nery not put
Of course
Gladiator
it is.
2?
Of course it is. Come on. Of course it is.
Oh, he's delayed.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
I was gonna say if this isn't tabled for Nery, I don't know what this podcast is anymore.
Yeah, no. Of course it's tabled. Of course it's tabled.
What do we got for you, Nery, number 6?
This might actually be tabled as well. My number 6 is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Table. Yeah. DP and W. My number 6, this is where I would put Furiosa. Furiosa, the Mad Max. Again, I did not watch a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Furiosa.
Why do you gotta keep saying that? Just say that you like the movie, man. It's a huge blockbuster. You don't have to keep giving the disclaimer. It's a huge blockbuster and be like, I like this movie.
No, because there are other movies that I know are out there that I want to watch. There's a lot of movies that we'll get to it, but like there's movies that came out that were supposed to be good that I was like, this is garbage.
Sure,
so of the limited movies
but you're saying that disclaimer against a George Romano movie. Like, this is a huge Romano movie. Like, this is a huge ass movie that nobody's gonna oh, what the fuck? He liked Furiosa.
No, it was great.
He must not have seen a lot of movies.
Furiosa. It's on my list because, again, this was a movie theater watching experience, and I went to watch it with the big screen with the sound. Like, you had to the original Fury Road was one of my favorite cinematic theatrical experiences. When you just because it was shot and I want it in my face.
So good. Yeah.
And Chris Hemsworth was good, not playing Thor, just playing like a real fucking weird Aussie guy. It was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And again, you could have lifted Anya Taylor-Joy out of there and put any actress and it would have been fine. But the story was good. It builds out the world a little bit. It felt like very much a sequel, like it was very much like that first Fury Road was so good that it was like, this felt like they had to shoehorn some stuff in there that was unexplained in like Fury Road, that it was like, I guess. But other like all of the all of the world building was fantastic. The cinematography was great. Yeah, I loved it. It was super solid. Awesome. Yeah. Valdes, number 5.
Number 5 is going to be Y2K. That is my number 5.
It's on my watch list. I saw this and was like, I was there. Don't cite the old magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written.
Did anybody else see this? Did you see it, Nery?
I did not see it. No, okay. I did not see it.
these are the movies that I'm
No
gonna.
spoiler for me. I don't want to know what happens.
Oh no, I won't. So 25 years later, no. So Y2K is a movie about if you grew up a 90s kid or in the 90s, back in 1999, everybody was scared that all the computers were going to reset and the whole world was going to shut down because of the computers and all this stuff. This movie explores what would have happened if that actually happened. And would the computers actually take over? This is a Kyle Mooney movie, Kyle Mooney of SNL fame. It is a horror comedy, and it does such a good job of juggling horror and comedy in it, because there are parts that are legitimately funny, and there are parts that are just like, what is happening right now? Like, this is crazy. And then man, this movie also made me feel old as well, because like I watched it and I was like, oh shit, this is a period piece. Like, because like they're playing like the thong song and shit, and I'm like, oh my god, this was my 6th grade. Like, it was just
It's
nuts.
weird.
Yeah,
So this is a 100% true story. I was working at Best Buy in 1999 into 2000 Y2K. We had Y2K compliant devices. We had all of these things that we had stickers. It was like when people talk about Y2K now as a period thing, you have to kind of remember how fast technology moved.
Yeah.
But at the time, there was like legitimate belief that planes were going to fall from the sky.
100%. Yes. Yeah. People were like really scared that people were like bringing water and shit. Like, it was like nuts. Yeah.
It was pretty spooky to think that it could be happening. So now to see a movie that's a period comedy about it is also like, oh boy, that's I have aged.
It's crazy though, because like you almost don't think it's gonna work, but it does, man. Like, it's like it really, really works. And I also just love Kyle Mooney's style, because like his first movie, Brigsby Bear, I really loved, and that's
my friend
just a
loves
movie.
that movie. Yeah,
it's a movie about a guy that grew up in a very conservative home and was only allowed to watch like this like Christian Bear thing. And he never got to finish the last episode, so he goes out of his home to create the last episode. It's a weird ass movie, but it's so good. And it has a lot of heart in it.
Yeah.
And
but
funny enough,
movie...
one of the actors of Deadpool is in this movie as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Deadpool 2, the New Zealand, the Maori kid.
Yeah, the New Zealand kid. Yeah, and he's very funny in it as well. Yeah,
Aotearoa.
very good movie.
You gotta say it appropriately. We don't use the colonizer name. Nery, what is your number 5 film of 2024?
My number 5 is, now you got to remember, I watched a shit ton of movies. So my number 5.
Why did you just say you have a 5?
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Movie, man. Just
what the
say
fuck?
the movie.
What's the movie?
My number 5 is, now these are you know what? I'm gonna go with Fall Guy. I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna call an audible here. I'm gonna swap my number 5 and number 4. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Fall Guy was dope.
Yeah.
I had it at my number 4 originally, but then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I'm gonna move it to my number 5 and move my number 5 up to my number 4. So I'm doing a little swap here, but either way, it's tabled. We'll talk about it soon.
Yeah, the Fall Guy is. Well, you know, I'll just move it to my 5 as well right now, so we can talk about it. The Fall Guy is, because then I'll move the other one up a little bit. But yeah, so let's talk about it right now. Fall Guy is my number 5 as well. Let's. I loved it.
It's such a fun movie.
It's such a fun movie.
The soundtrack was fucking fire. Was just fire with it. It had a good story. It had a legitimate story. I like the fact that it had a whodunit type of feel to it, but still in a in a very 80s action movie kind of way. And it kind of, it's one of those behind the scene movies where they kind of like they show you how a movie's made, but not really, but kind of. And all the characters are super exaggerated. The super hyper vigilant producer, and then the movie star, the Tom Cruise movie star that likes to claim to do all his own stunts, but he doesn't. It's really. I thought it was a lot of fun, man. They played with a lot of tropes. They had a lot of fun with it. It gave me, who I never had a disrespect for, but it gave even me a newfound level of respect for the stunt people, for the stunt.
Oh
actors.
yeah,
it made me mad that there is not an
award
stunts category for the. There's that in the Oscars. The stunts, because so much of it goes to computers now. People forget that there's still like a human body being moved around somewhere.
100%, yeah.
And when I was just watching what movie? But it was like from the 90s, and there was like car chases, and there was like the reason why it matters is that there's no CG. That guy is Glimmerman. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
But I was watching.
Hard
I can't
to Kill.
remember what it was. Any of those movies, name them. It's not like they used computers. Like there's literally like a dude getting yanked by a wire. There's literally guys driving the car and it rolls over. It look at even something like a silly comedy like the Blues Brothers has a whole scene.
I was gonna say, look at Home Alone. Those guys are really taking those hits. Not the actors, the stunt people are really taking those falls.
But there's something visceral about it where you your brain almost forgives it more than bad CGI for if you see a stunt that is not real, like you see the thing miss or whatever, or like that the concrete that hit him is like styrofoam or whatever, but your brain forgives it more than if it was like a bad CG. People are way more forgiving of a bad stunt or a prop than they are of the uncanny valley of computer graphics. So the Fall Guy made me remember, like there's the whole blooper reel at the end. They show like that montage at the end, and I was like, yes, I mean this is great, fantastic movie.
Fall Guy, the thing I loved about Fall Guy is kind of the reason why I like movies like Ferris Bueller and Home Alone 2. The music is a character in this movie.
Yes.
It is awesome. It's like a glorified music video, but in the best way possible, if that makes any sense.
Also, did you remember did anybody watch the Fall Guy series?
No.
The TV show?
No.
I used to watch it.
I didn't know it was a thing until after watching the movie.
Yeah. I remember watching it in the as a kid because I loved the guy's truck. I was a little kid, so I was the only reason there was Lee Majors, and he had this dope ass truck back in the 80s, because it literally ended in 86. Like I was a little kid when this was on TV. So, but yeah, I just remember that the Fall Guy had like a dope ass truck. That was it.
Yeah.
In the original series. So this was kind of a brand new story for me anyway. So that's number 5 for Nery and myself. Number 4, we're getting into the top 4 of
My number
2024.
My number 4 is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Table.
Ooh.
DP and yeah. That's gonna get tabled. Nery, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is my second horror movie of the list, and it is Alien Romulus.
Ooh. I did not see this.
You guys did you guys not see this movie?
I didn't see it.
I don't know if I mentioned. I didn't see that many movies this year. I don't know if I mentioned it.
No, but I understand. I'm not. That's what I'm asking, because I assume that neither one of you put this on your list because you haven't seen it. Because I was like, this. How can you?
Yeah.
Watch this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. That's
All right,
why it's
that's
not on my list.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Because I would rather that. Because if you guys saw this movie and didn't put it on your list, like, no, I saw it. It's fine.
For you, the non-horror person, to say that, it's kind of impressive.
Yeah. That's what I'm
so here's the
saying,
thing. So Alien movies, it took me decades to watch a single Alien movie because I am such a wuss when it comes to horror movies. I'm not a horror movie guy. A few years ago, I started doing the horror movie podcast Shiver, which with my friend Dave and at that time Jeff, and it got me to appreciate it. They forced me to watch horror movies, which was part of the joke, is like the scaredy cat watching horror movies.
Right.
But it got me to appreciate horror movies even more. So then I started watching the Alien franchise, and then I realized, with the exception of the original Alien movie, the other ones were just action movies. They weren't really horror movies. They were just,
the first
original
one
was
is
a
straight
thriller,
up a horror.
and then the part 2 and on were just action movies. And then it went back to Prometheus, but by that time I was already in the universe, so I'm already like, give me all of it. And then when Romulus came around, I was like, this is gonna be good. Or I hope to be. I'm excited for it. Let me rephrase that. The moment I was like, all right, I want to be good, and it did not. It was everything. It was. It takes place in the events right after the original Alien movie. So chronologically, it takes place right after the original Alien movie. And if you watch that before you watch this, it'd be even better because you get a refresher course, but you don't need it. I will say they nailed it, because you know how the original Alien movie, even though it was supposed to be in the quote unquote future, it was still very 80s. The way their attire, the way they looked, it was still very 80s. The way the characters look were very 80s.
It could have been lifted right out,
but it was still in the future because it picks up, and it's different. It's a different character cast. It's not like, oh, you're not gonna see Sigourney Weaver. You're not gonna, but it's just. And it was so well done. That
world is fantastic.
Perfectly.
Yeah, that world is super interesting, and that's one of those things, like in Star Wars, they could tell a million stories in that world involving different aliens, and it would be, I would, I would watch the whole fact that there's these mining operations going on with these ships that go out.
Yes.
Like there's so much like content there that they could use, that it's like
they could mine for content. He gets it.
Waka. Number 4.
I don't care for it.
I don't care for it.
Number 4. This is where I'm gonna put Heretic on my list. So if we want to talk about Heretic,
I'm tabling it.
Mike tables it.
I'm sorry, I did not hear that. Okay, so Valdes, what is your number 3?
My number 3, my top 3 are constantly fighting, because they're movies that I thought about. But I mean, I tabled it, but I'm gonna go with Heretic for this one. For my number 3 is Heretic. Let's go with that.
All right.
This movie fucking rules. Like this movie is so fucking
all 3
good.
of us put it on our lists, right?
Yeah.
So we've all 3 tabled this.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant fucking annihilates in this movie. Such a good performance. I almost forgot that he was a dick back in real life.
That's what I was gonna say. I will say I'm not trying to take away from his performance, but he's like internationally renowned. He's known for being a complete asshole and being smug. Yeah. And he just plays a smug asshole in this movie, and you go, okay. I mean, not taking away from his performance.
I didn't think so. So here's the thing.
I love this. This is the one who's against religion. He's like, I don't think he was an asshole. It's like,
no. Well, he's so the thing is that I think that what people don't like about like Hugh Grant in this movie is like a predator in the animal sense. He's like a trap, right? But no. But like he's an ambush predator, right? And then when you look at the reasoning why, God, I want to talk about. I don't want to spoil like the movie for people who are going to watch it. But when
you think you have it figured out, it changes, which is so awesome.
It's one of those that I wanted to go back and watch it again to see at the beginning again, to see, because at a certain point, like you realize how much of the world he's built around him is part of the whole thing, and it becomes almost like Saw. It becomes almost like a puzzle, this whole kind of elaborate thing. Once you learn that it's this kind of thing, then you realize, oh man, this is another one of those movies where the whole time you're like, the people in the movie are making dumb fucking mistakes that make the movie good, but in real life you'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I disagree. I disagree with you. I was watching this movie and I was never like, oh, I would have done. They are playing character. They are extremely polite, but they were very much on it from the beginning. Like, this is creepy. We should get the fuck out of here.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I will say that they want to get Yes, that's actually fair. I do. Yeah, that's fair because they
and
were
also
clocking it from the beginning.
Sophie Thatcher's character definitely knows something's up, like the whole time. And to be completely fair, the movie wants. I'm not. I hope I'm not giving anything away, but the movie wants you to feel uneasy the whole time.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
the moment
it wants you to feel like something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Period.
The
Like,
moment the movie starts and it says A24 Productions, you go, ooh, something bad's gonna happen.
Oh, shit,
boy.
something's gonna happen.
Oh man, something bad's gonna happen. This shit ain't gonna go. It ain't gonna end well.
And then
That's
you find out they're
immediately-
Mormons, and you're like, "Oh shit, something's definitely gonna happen to these."
Yeah,
people."
That it
Crazy.
starts with the whole Mormon thing, and
Yeah.
so the religion is there's
The
so much
theological
in
conversations. The theological
Yeah.
conversations were
That's why I
really on
loved
point.
it,
They were
was,
really
yes,
good.
The writing of this movie is so on point, dude,
Yeah.
because it has legitimate questions, then also legitimate answers that people of that religion would
counterpoints.
actually say.
It has good counterpoints.
So good, yes.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things is one of my favorite scenes, and I'm gonna try not to give anything away, but to those of you who have seen it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Is when there's two doors,
Yes.
and they
This scene is so
ask, can we talk to your wife? And then he comes back, and that proposal was like, do you believe because I've said something because you've been conditioned to it, or do you even though you know what I mean? Like that whole conversation. Again, I'm not trying to
it's hard to
complete the
talk about
sentence.
stuff. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just so good. Like that whole conversation, theologically speaking, you go,
The smell of the blueberry pie,
Bro, you want to hear something really fucked up? If you go on a24.com, they're selling blueberry scented candles. So
hey, you gotta merch. You gotta sell merch.
yeah, but like to anybody that's seen this movie, you're like, that is such a fucked up way of selling merch
Yeah.
for this movie.
I will say, so I love.
it did work though. I was like, oh, they got.
Yeah.
Can I buy that Monopoly? I want that Monopoly.
I want
Yeah.
I also want to say that the actress Sophie Thatcher, she's in a new movie called Companion that looks really good.
Yeah,
And
also want to
she was
not
also-
see anything from it either because I want to know what happens when it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen enough, right? Like this one.
Yeah.
But I got to interview her when I went to New York Comic Con as a press.
way.
When I got to do press in New York Comic Con, I got to interview for a movie back in 2018 that she did with Pedro Pascal called Prospect. And it is a independent sci-fi movie that I tell everybody about, and it is great. She's great in it. It is a very, if you liked Alien, like that idea, it fits into that idea as well, where they're there's like resource mining, exploration and all that stuff. But Pedro Pascal and Sophie Thatcher is in this movie from 2018 called Prospect. That is very, very good, and it was kind of before everybody. It says you can watch it on like what is this? Hulu or Paramount Plus, I think is where
She is
But
an
it is
actor that I've
great.
been constantly impressed.
She should have
by.
been an Immaculate.
She could have been an Immaculate. That's
She
all,
should have been. A good actress. You put a good actress in that movie, I'm sure more people would have seen it.
So that's Heretic, a great recommendation. She's great in it. The other girl is also the innocent girl is so good.
Yeah. No, it's mostly it's mostly the three of them the whole movie. There is another character that you see for a minute, but I don't want to give that away. But but it is mostly the three of them. The three of them absolutely kill it in their own way. Such a great performance all around, and also the writing of that movie is just outstanding.
Yes, so good.
I'm trying to find because she was also.
I'm trying to figure out how to get a sequel.
Good
franchise
luck.
this shit, baby.
Yeah,
franchise.
I don't know if we can get the Heretic franchise.
Let's do the Jehovah Witness one. They knock on doors.
Come on, man.
Nery, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is what you guys have. What we've talked about before we tabled is Conclave.
Conclave, yeah. This is the
religion,
movie
baby.
That's the theme of 2024. Apparently, this is the one where my wife and I were like, "These people are fucking acting."
Yeah.
And there is there is acting happening in this movie.
Yeah.
What did you enjoy about it, Nery?
I did. I enjoyed all of this shit. As somebody who grew up in a Catholic church, I'm not Catholic now, and I haven't been for a long, long time. Not that I'm not a believer. I'm not Mike Mercadal. But I am a believer. I have my beliefs. Okay. But this was such a good movie because I felt that it showed you what happens. Right, when a pope dies, when there's a conclave, it shows you what happens when the pope dies. It shows you every aspect of it, right? From the planning, from the whatever, but then it gets down to the minutia of the pettiness of these people. And Stanley Tucci had a great line when he's like, "Oh, shut up! We've all wanted this. Right, everybody wants it. Like, don't give me this. Like, we've all had our acceptance speech already prepared in our heads since we were like 10 years old." And it's such a true statement. I think it's almost impossible because you hear that all the time. People are like, "I don't want to be the Pope." He's like, "Well, that's why you have to be the Pope." It's like, "Oh, shut the fuck!" Like, that's impossible.
Right. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you can't.
They all turn into Jon Snow, where they're like, "I don't want it."
Yeah, you can't be in anything. Let me step away from the topic of religion, but you can't be in anything and have anything be your life's work and not want to attain the highest point of that work, whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's like when a comedian goes like, I've never wanted to be the number one comedian in the world. It's like, what? What are you talking about? What
an actor not wanting an Academy Award. Like, of course you do.
What are you talking about?
You practiced your speech when you were 12. Like,
100%. You know what? I will say this. As somebody who has tried and is trying to get into the entertainment and do entertainment things in TV, film, whatever it is, that's not my dream. You want to know what my dream is? I want to have a sci-fi series that is short-lived but beloved. And then I don't want to win an award. I want to be able to go to Comic-Cons and just hang out with people who are nerdy and just do I just want to do
So the award thing to me is that's why I didn't say awards, because award things to me don't matter. To me what matters is
I want to do something that's beloved.
I want to do so. I want to get to the pinnacle of my craft where I get to do it whenever I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever you want to and be able to sustain financially.
So, that's what I'm saying. So like that's the pinnacle of my preferred career. So I was just 100%, that's what I loved about Conclave, that it gave the interpersonal communications. It gave, like, even within these cardinals, they're like, "Oh, that guy's the asshole," and they gave all of these like, "Oh no," and it was like so great.
Yeah, it was layered.
Yes.
Because there was also, so for, if you haven't seen it, there's a mystery element also too. Like, there's suspense in it. There's like it's understated and it's very much an acty movie, but there's a mystery, there's suspense, there's like internal struggle, and it's all written on fucking Ray Fiennes' face. Like, he's just so good at showing stuff. And John Lithgow plays a great character. Can we
just talk about how underrated John Lithgow is as an actor?
Go on my mountain.
Dude. I love that
mountain.
Guy.
The fact that if you ever watched the show The Crown, if you ever watched that, he played Winston Churchill, and you believe that was Winston Churchill.
Yeah,
and then they
got a time machine and brought Winston Churchill.
Yes, they brought Winston Churchill to do this show. This is amazing. And then 2-3 years later, he's in this show, he was almost unrecognizable as this cardinal, right? And he's not in it for long, but he's in it, and you're like, man,
he's an important character.
He's an important character. His character matters, and he's so underrated as an actor because he did so well as a comedic actor, right? That we forget that this guy, because he could play silly and he could play outlandish and he could do all this, and then he could play Winston Churchill, and then he could play a cardinal, and he's so great, man.
Best season of Dexter. I'll say it right now.
Best season of Dexter, the Trinity Killer. One of my favorite. Like,
don't spoil it because I haven't seen it yet. But anyways,
that was great.
Saying he's
great
the best
3.
isn't spoiling anything.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you said he was the best, but Mike just said the killer, and I was like, oh man.
No. But that's not the big twist, because in that show, you know who the killers are.
Yeah.
It's worth
it just for Lithgow.
So
Conclave was fantastic. It ends in a oh shit, imagine if that would happen type of deal. Imagine if that blah blah blah. And it's really good, man. It's really
It really is solid.
It brings up question. And then you can see this is what I love. It's not completely cynical, like, oh, the Catholic Church is a piece of shit. And it's not completely completely cynical. It's not completely like all roses and sunshines. It's not like the Catholic Church is the best thing in the world. It shows the complexities of having an institution that size, and it still has human beings in the institution, which is what makes it flawed to begin with.
And
right?
also the idea that there will be differences of opinion even within the structure. So like there's the people that want to be this way and the people that want to be more liberal and the people that it was like a mirror to what's happening like in the world. So it's like it was very I loved it. I mean, it was super solid. Conclave was on my list. It's definitely one of my top 10, but it was great. It was one that I had to watch in 2 parts. Like I almost didn't finish it and I came back to it. I'm so glad I did. Because it was super talky and I was falling asleep. You know, like there's a certain amount of like, when you're home and comfortable. Again, the theatrical experience versus the home experience, it's different. That's probably why it's low on my list.
I'm at the age, man. I'm at the age. I'm 43. I can fall asleep in a movie theater the same as I can at home. I'm at the age, bro. You get me watching
Also
a movie
true.
at 2:00. You get me watching a movie at 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm gonna get the sleepies, bro. Like
that's nappy time. That's nap time. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Number 3 for me is The Substance. Did anybody watch
I've been
horror
dying to
theme?
watch that movie, and I just haven't gotten a chance to. But anytime, I love those kind of movies where you get those actors that you didn't remember about, and you're like, oh, they're fucking killing it. Jennifer Aniston in the movie Cake a few years ago was killer. She was fantastic. Like this, that's what this reminds me of. Like seeing like Demi Moore. Yeah, okay. And I've been like cheering for her, even though I haven't seen the movie. And when she won the Golden Globe, I was like, yes, that's awesome. But I'm sorry, I don't want to talk about. I haven't seen it, but the want is
real quick before you do anything. It's tabled for me.
Oh.
So
yeah. The Substance. I'm sorry. You gotta get in there quick with the tablings. But
I tried to. Nobody heard me.
Jump on in there. Sorry.
Valdes was like, I tried to, but Nery was already eating at the table. He did not let me talk.
He didn't let me do anything.
Okay, so
let's not talk about it yet.
Moving on. Number 2 for you, Valdes. What's your number 2? Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't want to leave Yolanda in the lurch. The last Pope's show she saw was Shoes of a Fisherman. I guess they're what you do. And then she says, I'm old. I have no idea what Shoes of a Fisherman is. It might have to do with the old.
There was another movie a few years ago about the Pope, right? There was another one that was
there was the young Pope, the 2 popes. There's a lot of Pope stuff. Yeah. My favorite, of course, being Angels and Demons, where the Pope dies and weird-haired Tom Hanks has to come in and solve the mystery. That book is actually really good. I learned a lot about the process from reading the Angels and Demons book. It was super interesting, and that's why I kind of knew it going into Conclave. I was like, oh, this black smoke means they did not choose.
Mike, you didn't learn that from the news when a Pope died? You lived through it.
I had read Angels and Demons before the Pope died. Wait,
really?
Which Pope? I wasn't
That's
aware
what I'm
of
saying.
it.
That's like John Paul II. John Paul II died like 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, but I wasn't paying attention to that.
Oh, I remember watching the news and the black smoke means this and the whatever, blah blah. And then you never saw Eurotrip. Eurotrip also has the
that's right. That's right. They have elected a new pope. Oh no, the pope is dead. Oh, we have a new pope. Yeah, that was so funny. Sorry, man. Number 2.
No, you're good.
Valdes, what are we doing? Number 2. We're getting really close to the end.
So, look, man. I wanted to hate this movie. There was too much stuff about it. There was so much media going on about it, and I was like, I hate this movie. I hate everything about it. And then I saw it, and I was like, I am sorry. And that movie
Argyle
is wicked.
Kansas City Chiefs.
I love. We were all waiting to jump on the joke.
Yeah,
what was it?
Wicked. I loved Wicked.
Oh, Wicked.
Oh, okay.
I loved it.
I thought that would be number 1. To be honest, I thought that would be number 1.
No,
Mike, it's in the family share. You can watch it.
I'm going to. I saw it there.
As you can guess, what my number 1 is by now, but yeah, Wicked is my number 2.
Wicked.
Yeah, that movie rules.
Sorry, hooked on? Did you have any preconceived notions going in? Had you
Nothing.
seen the play? Oh.
I had not seen the play. I had never heard the music. I knew Adina Menzel was in it. I knew that Kristen Chenoweth was in it.
You mean
heard-
okay?
Yeah, Adele Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem.
I knew Adele Dazeem was in it. And I had heard.
What if it
Defying
comes out that
Gravity.
John Travolta has dyslexia and we've all been making fun of
He
him for years?
does. He's also in however old he is, and he's got bad eyes, and they're making him read off teleprompters, and none of these actors want to wear reading glasses.
Nobody ever thought maybe Adele's name is Adina. You know, like. But so, yeah, man, I just really like this movie, and
this little independent film that nobody saw.
Yeah, this little independent movie that definitely didn't cost any money to make. But it's you know, one thing that I will say, because I'm sure everybody's talking about this movie, and this is just another podcast about people talking about Wicked. But I think that one thing that was really great about this movie was that it remembered the whole time that this is a movie. This isn't, we're not putting cameras in front of a musical. This is a movie, you know? And I think so many movie musicals have that issue where they forget that it's a movie. You know, vis-a-vis Dear Evan Hansen, you know, where we forget, hey, the cameras are 4K and we can see that Ben Platt is 40 years old. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. So, like, there's
like, an element to this movie that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say that there's the whole point of a movie musical is to be we were talking about I don't know if it's on anybody's list, but Amelia Perez, that movie that came out, that movie, has anybody seen anything about it? That, like, if
I've
you
only
have
heard bad things,
it's all of these bad things. So, like, when it got in the Golden Globes, when it got nominated for, like, it won or whatever, it beat Wicked for Best Movie Musical. I hadn't seen anything about it yet, and my wife and I, we were like, well, it's because it's at least original. It's not just like, why would you make a movie like it's just the same as the musical? Like, why would you need this, right? Like, you know, like if you've seen, you know, Wicked before, which we both have, you know, and that's something that we forget. Like, not everybody can go to the theater and see things.
I literally was about to say, I was like waiting for you to finish your thought, and I was like, because not all of us have a fucking live next to Broadway. We go to
what? But that's also the point. Like, the music of a theater based. Not theater, but like a stage based thing. You can only see it when it goes on tour. You can only see it live. It does not. You can not a lot of things like Hamilton releasing on Disney Plus or whatever. That doesn't happen. You know, that's a phenomenon. So if you've seen Wicked, or if you've seen, you know, like even when they made Into the Woods or something like that. Like, that's a version of exposing people to this music for the first time, but it is just a remake. Like, the music is already out there in the world.
Right.
So, but then Amelia Paris comes out, and it is hot garbage.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't think it is. I saw the first song, and I literally was watching it, Amelia Perez, after it got nominated for Golden Globe. So I had heard nothing about it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't even know it was a musical. And then I went to go watch it. And I went to go watch it as I fall asleep. Like, oh, I'll start watching this movie and I'll fall asleep. And then the very first song within the first 5-10 minutes got me so hooked that I was like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this movie a disservice. I gotta pay attention. And I just haven't gone back to watch it just because of life gets in the way. But I loved the first 5-10 minutes of that movie. I was like, this shit is awesome. I stopped watching it because I did not want to. I literally said to myself, this deserves more respect than a watching it while I fall asleep type of movie. And so but again, I didn't even know about the hate. I didn't even know about the shit that it was getting on. I didn't know Selena Gomez was even in it. And then Selena Gomez.
Right.
And then so I had no idea. Like, I have none of this happening to me.
Maybe not knowing things going into stuff gives you more of let's just say, not an appreciation, but you can accurately assess it better.
Yes, it's not contaminated. Your thoughts, your opinion is not contaminated.
It's not tainted. Yeah. Well, Wicked has I have not seen it. I've seen the original play. You know, I've seen the production. Actually, I saw it in Miami before I moved to New York when it was on at the Art Center years ago, and the you know, so, and I'm familiar with it. You know, if you have friends that are music, every one of them does the fucking, you know, like everybody does it. You know, everybody's got a version. You go to karaoke around any Broadway or theater, you know, musical theater kid, they're going to sing that music from there. So, like, yeah, I get it. The songs are popular, the movie's popular, but you're saying as a movie, it is very good.
Yeah,
that makes
and
me interested.
That's the thing that a lot of movie musicals forget that they are. They forget that they're movies. You know, like, and it's like, there's even the Phantom of the Opera movie, like, it's so detached from what the actual show is. You know, like, it's just like, it's not. Yeah, like this. So essentially, you know, you're getting more in the movie, for one, because it's a movie, but also I'm sure you're getting more because they're trying to wring as much juice as they can out of this.
Yeah,
out of this horse.
Because again, it's a part one, because there's a part
it's part
two
one.
coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
And part one is 3 hours. You know, and it's like. And there's still a lot of story to tell. Don't get me
so
wrong.
was Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was also part one, and that was also 3 hours. So
Yeah,
The Fellowship was. You're right.
But to be fair, Lord of the Rings was 3 books. Wicked is 1. So
That's true.
Yeah,
it's also a derivative work. It's not an original thing. It's based on the Wizard of Oz books that you loved. You loved those books.
I love the Wizard of Oz books. The Wizard of Oz books is my favorite books. Is my favorite. Well, the Wizard of Oz itself was my favorite book. The Wizard of Oz series is my favorite book series. But I haven't read all like 13 of them. I think there's 13 of them. I haven't read all 13 of them.
Oz books.
And I don't think they were. And I don't think Wicked was one of those. I don't think Wicked was one of those books.
No, it's a separate. It's a derivative. It's someone
thing.
else's work. Yeah.
Yeah, Wicked is a movie based on a musical, based on a book, based on another movie, based on another book. So it's just like this constant.
I'm the dude. I'm the dude with the other dude.
Playing the dude.
Playing the dude.
Like another
disguised as another dude.
All right.
So Nery, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is another movie that most people have never heard of or watched. It's called Land of Bad.
Okay.
And
I've heard of this actually.
It does. It's Liam Hemsworth and Russell Crowe, who might show up later on in the episode. And Land of Bad does an amazing job of showing you. It's a military movie about a drone pilot, which is played by Russell Crowe, but he's piloting the drone that's helping a mission that turns sideways from Liam Hemsworth. Liam Hemsworth is not a field. He's not supposed to be in the field. He is the drone pilot. Like, he controls the drone from his hand,
like a tablet.
And he just points to, like, hey, I need bombs over here, and then the pilot, which is played by Russell Crowe, goes, okay, whatever, but the mission goes sideways. Then Russell Crowe and Liam Hemsworth have become you become close in these situations where the only contact you have with another human being is on the phone, is on the radio with you. It is fantastic. It is great, action packed,
high on your
but
list?
also story driven, also drama driven. So it does a great combination of being an action movie, but also being a dramatic movie. So it's not just wild explosions. While there is a lot of that, there's also story based and acting based. Like, it's Russell Crowe, man. That guy doesn't miss. He's fat, but goddamn, he's a great actor. He does it. He's so good. He's so good.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's funny.
People say that about me all the time. Damn it, he's fat, but he's such a good actor.
So good. He's undeniable.
Let's be real. Like, we talked about this before in the podcast. Russell Crowe, after he won his Oscar, he's just doing his side quests. Like, he's just doing his he's doing all these. We're doing all these movies where it's like you've never heard of. They're not wide releases. He's directing his own shit. He's just doing whatever the fuck he wants, and I love all of it. He's good in all of it. All of it.
Yeah, he's good. It's on the list. I'm making, as we're talking, I'm keeping track of our lists, but I'm also making lists of a thing that, that's a good suggestion. I'm going to watch that. That's interesting to me because that's what a lot of these things do. Like now that the Oscars are coming out, when they announce all of the things, it's like this is just movies to watch. It's just like it adds to the list of
suggestions. Yeah.
The same way.
Yeah. Especially for people who haven't seen a lot of movies this year, and then the ones that have seen,
I haven't. No, if you're gonna, like I know I haven't talked about it that much, but I haven't seen that many movies this year. One of which I did see that I loved, and I wish I had seen it in the theater. And actually, now that I'm curious of Dune Part 2.
All right,
okay. Dune Part 2.
I haven't seen it.
There's something about these movies. Yeah, there's something about these movies where it feels. Denis Villeneuve feels like a fucking filmmaker to me. Valdes makes me think of Up. Come on, man.
Somebody's seen the first 30 seconds of my stand-up material. Right?
Yeah. The kid. Yeah, we know exactly. Yeah. We know. That's like when you have a name that has a certain joke attached to it, or you hear somebody your name. Oh, like this person, and they're like, "I've heard this every fucking day of my life."
Yeah. My last name is Limp Dick. You think I haven't heard of it? Like,
exactly. Yeah, 100%. No, but the idea. So the Dune movies, Denis Villeneuve feels like a guy who is making films. Like the guy is a filmmaker to me. The guy is constructing films. So this is a like sci-fi epic, huge set pieces, tons of special effects, like stunt work. The writing is based on the Frank Herbert novels as more accurate than previous iterations, but it's also like you don't like. I understand Nery is not a Timothée Chalamet fan. He is not a fan of his angular face.
I watched Dune Part 1 and I liked it. 5 minutes after, I really enjoyed Dune Part 1. 5 minutes after watching Dune Part 1, if I would have taken a quiz as to what the movie was about, I couldn't have answered that quiz.
Yeah,
which is the reason I didn't watch. Which is the reason I didn't watch Dune 2 is because I felt like I have to rewatch Dune 1 because it came out so many years later that I was like, I don't remember. Like people would ask me, "Oh, you gonna watch Dune 2?" I'm like, I don't remember what happened in Dune 1. Like I don't remember. But I remember I liked the movie Dune 1 a lot. I just don't remember, so I didn't watch Dune 2.
It's a super in the future Pocahontas story. Like it's a super in the future like the white savior story. It's Avatar, but it's also like it's done from a perspective of like it's not good to be that white savior guy. Like that is a corrupting influence. Like that's the whole point. That's why like Frank Herbert used all of the Arab and Middle Eastern Arabic names like the Lisan al-Ghaib or like all of that is directly related to the fact that we see the Middle East as enemies and we don't want to let them live. We want to be the savior of those people.
Tell them how to live.
Exactly. So like you're watching Paul Atreides go and be this legendary hero of history that was constructed by another organization because the Bene Gesserit built him, or like has the legend about it. That it's like people are like, yeah, and then meanwhile, like the whole lesson of the story that's going to be part is like it's not good. This is bad. These are bad. This is a weird thing to be rooting for, and it's going to be like I look forward to seeing Denis Villeneuve's culmination of this story because I trust him with the films that he makes. Like when he did oh god, what's it called? The fucking
yeah, we got it.
No, I'm talking about the
you got this, Mike. I believe in you.
There you go, bro. The whatchamacallit?
Blade Runner 2049.
Yes.
Blade Runner 2049.
I'm such a dick. I'm trying to rush him because we have 9 minutes left. I'm trying to rush him. I knew the answer, but
we
I
have
was like,
9 minutes left? Why?
Yeah. Because if it's more than 2 hours, I can't repost it to my. So it's a whole thing. We got to keep it under 2 hours.
We're whatever, man. We're not slaves to these content machines, these algorithms. You cut it, edit it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You just add more work to you. Just do it, man.
Yeah,
just,
do it.
Whatever.
Did it for years. Let's go. Dune Part 2 is my number 2. I also, not to add time to this, but I'm gonna because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, of course.
I would I just want to say these are the movies I started but did not finish. Okay, because they're
You did not finish Dune 2?
No. I did not finish. I didn't watch that many movies this year. But the ones I didn't finish. There's a movie called Red Right Hand with Orlando Bloom that I did not finish.
Never even heard of it.
Problemista. With Julio Torres from SNL.
Torres.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire didn't finish.
Oof, not good. Not
Civil
good. You probably
War
saved yourself.
did not finish.
You
Did
probably
not
saved
finish
yourself.
that Civil War either.
Bad Boys Ride or Die did not finish.
That made my list of movies that didn't make the list, but honorable mention to Bad Boys.
Honorable mention. Despicable Me 4 did not finish. Borderlands did not even barely start it. Venom: The Last Dance did not finish. Craven did not finish, and Monkey Man did not finish. But I think I'm going to give Monkey Man another shot.
Oh, Monkey Man is really good. Monkey Man would have been my number 10. Would have been my number 11. My honorable mentions are Twisters, Monkey Man, Ministry of
Ungentlemanly Warfare. That was
Ungentlemanly
honorable mention.
Warfare, Bad Boys, Ride or Die, and Moana 2. Those are my honorable mentions.
Honorable mention to also Argyle, which I watched the whole damn
That
thing.
movie's fucking trash.
Trash.
Biggest
It's
trash.
just such garbage at the end. It's just
At the end, that movie was garbage from the jump. I was
I was giving it the benefit of the doubt, and then at
Oh
a
my
certain
God.
point, it's like no.
How you finished that movie, but did not finish any of the other movies?
Bro, I'm
Pick
serious.
any
I
of the
don't
other
know.
movies.
I don't know.
Ghostbusters. By the way, Ghostbusters 2. I'm not a fan of. But that's way more of a finishable movie than fucking Argyle. I know this because I did not finish Argyle.
Godzilla versus. I did finish Godzilla versus Kong, the new Empire one. I finished the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. And there's a shout out to Blink Twice. That was a real fucked up movie. Super fucked up movie. Yeah, that my wife was watching. I was kind of like watching it with her, and she got to the point where she's like, "I gotta fast forward because it's like it's intense. It's like too much." So finished?
She could have turned off her headphones, but all right.
Yeah.
Mike, your number one.
Valdez.
Before I do my number one, I don't have honorable mentions. I just have oh my god, I have my review, which it had so much potential. That's my review, which is like this movie had so much potential, but it was such a letdown. Saturday Night. Biggest letdown possible. Such a good cast, all this stuff. Everybody was completely underutilized. Everybody sucked. It was awful.
Yeah.
Unfrosted. How can you make a movie about cereal and the guy that hosts a cereal podcast fucking hates the movie? It's
I gotta be
ridiculous.
honest with you, man.
It's not about cereal, it's about Pop-Tarts.
It's about Pop-Tarts.
No,
yeah.
I know, but it's Kellogg's, so like still, you know.
I gotta be honest with you, Mike. I don't know why that movie was fun, dude. It was just a fun, dumb movie. It was just a silly movie.
There's fun.
Did you want a
elements in it.
serious? Did you want a serious Pop-Tart movie?
No. I wanted it to be silly, and trust me, there were bits that were really funny. I thought Melissa
40%
McCarthy was
on
very
Rotten
funny.
Tomatoes.
I thought Melissa McCarthy was very funny in it, and I liked the little. My specific favorite bit was the Snap Crackle Pop bit. Where they were at the funeral.
Yeah.
That was the fucking funniest bit of the whole movie. I literally laughed out loud. But everything else, I was just like, this is kind of.
Jim Gaffigan was great in it.
Gaffigan's good, but it's like part of me was like, who is this for? Because like
that's a good
it's
question.
not because it's like not really for children, but also like you need to have a
childlike wonder.
Yeah, you need to have a childlike wonder. Exactly.
I'm just looking at the first views. The first lines. I fell asleep in the middle of the day watching this movie. Must be 43 years old.
Yeah.
This period is painful period. I'm not sure whether it's just because I've been playing Fallout 4 again or whether it's because I'm a Brit with a love of silly comedy. What is this? Oh, I thought that might be the wrong movie. It's like it's the not great in terms of the reviews.
Okay, so my number one is The Substance. The reason why is because since I saw The Substance, I have not stopped thinking about The Substance. That movie fucking rips. It's so fucking good. It rules. It is such a good movie. Nery, highest recommendation. Please watch that movie.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna download the Pluto app. That's the only way you can watch it. You gotta either buy it or like it's free if you subscribe to Pluto, and the first 2 weeks of Pluto are free. And you're like, okay, I guess I subscribe to fucking Pluto.
But dude, Demi Moore is the best. Like she's a treasure in this movie. The metaphor of this movie is just so beautiful.
Her acceptance speech was fire, bro.
Oh my god, and
Her
and
acceptance
it's
speech was fire.
even more so if you know what the movie's about, because the
Yeah.
movie is very much about an aging person, you know.
Yeah, it's like
and,
Catwoman.
Yeah, yeah, kind of exactly like Catwoman. Yeah,
People forget that the Catwoman movie with Halle Berry was about
an aging woman.
An
Yeah.
aging woman who is
Yeah.
Sharon Stone, who takes so much age-defying products that she becomes like her face
cat.
becomes like hard like stone.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
And-
this: the reason why I loved, so we again went in not knowing anything.
Same.
Again, watching it with my wife. It's always nice to like there's certain movies that I have to kind of watch with my wife to really experience. Like there's a reason. Like no, this is a thing we have to watch together. There's certain things I'll watch alone, but there's something about where you can look at each other and be like, "Are you fucking? What is happening?" This
Yeah.
movie.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Can you believe that?
Reenacting it.
Yeah.
Can you believe this shit?
Can you believe it?
What?
Yeah. This movie raises the stakes so many times
Yeah.
where I thought it was going to end, and then it did it like 6 more times.
Yeah, you
Like-
think it's gonna end, and it's like, no, this is actually the second part of the movie.
This would be a rewarding ending in and of itself. Then it
Yes.
keeps going, and you're like, whoa, now it's super fucked up, but wow, what an ending. Whoa, this is,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
It is one of those movies that, again, where these people are acting.
Yes.
There's super cool visual effects. I don't know if it's like real or like how much of it is prop, like actually in camera. The
a
story.
lot of it is very practical looking.
Yeah,
as
it looks
which
super
is
practical.
super cool. Is super cool. The way that the director shoots the actors, especially the way that she shoots what's his butt from The Parent
Dennis
Trap.
Quaid.
Dennis Quaid. The way that she shoots him.
From Parent Trap. He
Parent
said
Trap.
from Parent Trap. That's his go-to Dennis Quaid movie is
Yeah.
Parent Trap.
That's fucking funny.
And he dude, the way that they shoot him at an angle where you're like, this guy's an asshole. Like,
Yeah, immediately.
you know what I
Well,
mean?
in real life, he's an asshole.
No, I know, but like the character itself is like he's supposed to be a grotesque, like gross TV executive, and the way that they shoot this the way that they shoot his scenes in particular, you're like, I don't like this guy. This is so uneasy.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't like this guy at all. He's such a misogynistic pig, and I mean, he always has food in his mouth, and
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
freaking shrimp like coming in like almost on the lens of the screen. You're like, Jesus Christ, like yuck.
This movie
You know?
was also like shouted out by Guillermo del Toro as his favorite of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just read a quote from the director. This lady, Coralie Fargent.
A woman? Never
By
mind.
She's
the way,
she's
this is like her first movie, and I was
Yeah.
like, what? This is an incredible first movie. Like,
Insanely good.
All
This is a
downhill
quote
from
from
here.
her. Yeah, right. Before the quote, and I you know, I have never dealt with the struggles of a woman in Hollywood.
Sure.
But as somebody who was, you know, like who was and is like outside the scope of attractive man, you know, like I'm fat, I've been overweight my whole life, you know, like all these things that you
Your
don't really
eyes are
think
too
about.
close together. You're balding. You have
all of
gray
these
hair.
things
You have
that-
double chins. Yeah, man.
Wait, what? No, I was talking about. I'm sorry. Throwback to previous episode.
I know, it's so good.
But there was a lot about it where it was like also getting older with my health, like my physical health, right?
Yeah.
But and it was I was watching this like just kind of blown away at what she did for what the director did in terms of unflinchingly showing shit, like
Yes.
from the body, like Demi Moore, you know, like showing her 60-plus-year-old body,
her real body. Yeah.
her real body. You know, like there's just so much of it that was done that was like, this is like statement. You know, like
By
it was
the way,
all.
this movie made me feel like such a quote unquote dude. because every time I've heard a woman talk about this movie, they're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they're actually showing her naked. They have her pouch. Oh my god!" And I was like, "Hot woman, hot woman, hot
the whole
woman."
time. Mike's like, I can't believe she's so brave. And then you cut to Valdes.
Yeah. Brave?
I'm like, she's a beautiful woman. What are you talking about? I don't see any of these flaws you're talking about. What
She's
are you
so
talking
brave
about?
to show her flawless body.
Yeah.
I was
then
like,
they show-
this woman's hot as balls. I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
The thing is also like the way it's because again they set up the reality like in those movies where we're supposed to believe Arnold Schwarzenegger is just a good old Midwestern guy who works in a bank. Meanwhile, he's jacked and has the thickest accent and it never gets addressed. This is that kind of thing in Hollywood where we're just like, what? This person is objectively attractive by like more social standards, not Hollywood standards. But
it's like having Robbie in Barbie, and she gets sad because she has to be perfect. It's like,
yeah, you look. Yes, correct.
Nailed it.
But
Nailed it.
so the director, one of the quote that stands out here is, "Before Ozempic, we had amphetamines, but it's always the same violence."
yeah.
About
Yeah.
women and aging in Hollywood. I'm like, fuck, that's
Well,
great.
one thing that's true about this movie, and you hit the nail right on the head, Mike, was this movie does talk about what you do with yourself, especially with your body right now, you are paying for in the future. Future you is paying for what you're doing for yourself now.
No, but you got to respect the balance. I don't want to say anything. Nery, this movie is fantastic.
Just watch it, dude.
Just watch it.
Yeah,
it's so fucking good.
You know
Download
which one I
Flim
watched?
Flam or whatever it's on.
Yeah,
Get
download
the 1 week free
Flim Flam.
trial.
You gotta watch Flim Flam. Flimflam.net is fantastic. So the movie that I watched yesterday, instead of watching Substance, because it's just to download it, I actually it's in the family share now because the description was it was so jarring. Was Baby Girl, and which is
Nicole
yet
Kidman.
another A24 this
up
is not
movie.
gonna go well movie.
Yeah.
And
It's not gonna go well.
it's not gonna go well. But it was actually very surprisingly nobody died. So
Nobody dies, but
nobody dies at A24, but also kind of fucked up. Anyways, that everything you're describing about like a body and appearance and the way society has to see you, these topics were also talked about in Baby Girl, not
Baby
to
Girl,
diminish. And I'm just relating to something that I just happened to watch yesterday. But yeah, it's I'm intrigued. I want to watch it. I'll download Flim Flam.
Download Flim Flam.
And get
free trial.
Yeah, great. It's great. It would have been my number one, but I have other things that I cared about a little bit more. But it was one of the most impactful movies of the year. I will say it's been on my mind some of them for the longest.
Listen, man,
after
I'm gonna
watching.
tell you. I'm telling you right now. I think it's the best picture. I think it deserves the best picture nomination. It will not win because it's too good.
I wouldn't be mad at it if it won.
100%. I don't think anybody
It's-
would be mad at
it's
that
so
woman
good.
if
It's
that
so good.
movie won, or if Demi Moore won. I don't think anybody would be mad.
I want Demi Moore to win so much, and her acceptance speech be like, "Thank you for the people who made striptease," and made, like I just want that type of like
Yeah.
yeah.
I want her to go up to Jada Pinkett Smith and be like, "What the fuck is wrong with G.I. Jane 2? Huh?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yes.
What do you mean?
I
Yes.
wish you would, except that she would have to make that in outside because Jada Pinkett's not being invited back to the Oscars for a while.
Yeah.
Nery, what is your number one? I think we know exactly what it is. I already know.
My number one is a low budget independent film. It was kind of like bring your own lunch to the set kind of movie. No, it's Gladiator 2. I've talked about this movie on my podcast on WuBro already. Very unexpected. I did not want this movie to be made. I only went to watch this movie out of respect for Ridley Scott, who has over the years become one of my favorite directors of all time. And even the movies that I don't really like of his, I still respect his filmmaking decisions. And Gladiator 2 was fantastic. It tied in Gladiator 1, which again, I did not expect. It took place like 25, 30 years. The movie itself, the story takes place 25 years after the original movie. I didn't expect it to tie into the original movie in any which way, shape, or form. And I think the way it did was perfect. I
severely and sincerely like this movie in all aspects. The acting, Denzel Washington was, in my opinion, robbed of Oscar nomination, and even though he was nominated for a Golden Globe, he wasn't nominated for an Oscar. Gave outstanding performance. I thought he was great. So, but I'm not gonna harp on more and more about Gladiator 2.
No,
I feel like anybody who knows me is like, all right, enough with the fucking Gladiator. It's like when when you listen to Podcast Novo and it's like, all right, with the fucking Godfather, Jesus.
Yeah.
I saw it. I saw it as well, and I loved it. There is something that I realized though, and this is just my opinion. I know everybody has different opinions about this movie or whatever the case. The main thing that I got from this movie is there are actors who become the character, and there are characters who are becoming the actor. And for example, Joseph Quinn in this movie blew me away. Like, I thought he was incredible. I thought he was incredible in Gladiator 2. And also I started realizing, like everything he's done, he's very different. Like he's so different in Gladiator 2 than he is in Stranger Things, and than he is in probably in the Fantastic Four that he's about to be in, and like all these different things.
He
and
could potentially be new Gary Oldman for me.
Yeah, basically.
So many different,
And then there's some people
He's what Timothée Chalamet should be.
Fair enough.
He is what Timothée Chalamet what everybody claims he is. Like what everybody claims, like this guy's a real good. Like that's what I'm saying.
He really
All
is
I'm saying
that
is,
good, though. Yeah.
Timothy to me is just he's a fine. He's okay. He's fine. Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
But to me, he's like I don't see the. But this guy should get that kind of recognition.
100%. Yeah, he becomes the character. And then there's characters in this movie where you're like, wow, like Pedro Pascal's just playing Greg in this movie. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the only thing that's happening. Like, he's not even trying at an accent. Like, he's just Pedro Pascal, and that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, he plays a Roman emperor. He plays a Roman commander in a time. Yeah, it's fine.
I know.
He had more of a Spanish accent than Russell Crowe did in part
Russell
one.
Crowe did. Yeah. There's a lot about this movie that is interesting to me. I did not enjoy this movie because I just kept wanting, like, while I'm watching this movie, all I wanted to do was just go back and watch Gladiator again, and I did that. I just literally watched this movie, and then right afterwards, I was like, I'd just rather watch Gladiator again. There was too much. I will say this: in the spectacle of it all, there was the CG stuff I did not enjoy because of how visceral the original was. Like it felt more grounded.
There was CG stuff.
Yeah. There was
sharks weren't real.
The sharks weren't real.
I didn't notice.
I
thought it was
also when you know the truth of the water filling the Colosseum with water, and you know like the monkey, like the baboons and stuff like that. Like there was so much of it where I was like, oh, this is interesting, but it was different. I was like, I don't care enough. There's a couple TV series out there that have hit this side of things more. I just liked the story of Gladiator because Russell Crowe. That story was like very captivating. This story never really like got me in because all I kept wanting to do is go back and watch. It was trying to do too much Gladiator stuff where I was like, I'd just rather watch Gladiator. It's better.
I will say, and this is I'm kind of literally on the fence because there are points of this movie that I loved, and then there's parts of this movie where I was just like, okay, man, like, because a lot of this movie felt like Training Day in Rome. You know what I mean? Like a lot of like.
I don't. You mean awesomeness and awesome? Like I don't understand. Like that. Like the words you say were like awesome, but the tone you're saying it in,
is that it's
you were
not.
like, you know what the problem with this movie was? You know what the problem with this movie was? It was
too good.
It was Jurassic Park, but with religious tones. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, well that sounds awesome.
That sounds like a good movie to me.
But yeah, look, I completely understand. Like again, we all have our lists and we all have our mountains. We all have our preferences. This holds a very special place in your world. Gladiator does, and this.
But
is
you don't
the
understand.
extension
But
of
that's to me. This is what I try to explain to people. Like I'm the harsher critic, or I should be, because of the place of the place that Gladiator. Again, I said this for years when there was a rumor like, oh, they're thinking about doing Gladiator 2, and I said, don't fucking do it. Just leave it alone. It's fucking perfect. Leave it alone. And I kept saying this, and then they made it. And then if it would have been directed by anybody else and produced by Ridley, for example, I would have said, I'm not watching this shit. Fuck you. That's a money grab, right?
Same.
Yeah.
The only reason I watched it, the only reason I even gave it a chance, because I'm so protective of the original Gladiator. The only reason I even gave it a shot was because it was directed by Ridley Scott. And once I was in it, I was like, oh, fuck, this is amazing. And I just got engulfed, no pun intended, I got engulfed into the world. And I'm like, this is awesome. And I very quickly, like, left part 1 behind. Not that saying, like, it's not good. That's just, like, in my mind, I wasn't thinking about part 1. And it wasn't until part 2, started tying in part 1 that I even thought of part 1. I'm like, oh, shit, they're doing, okay.
So the whole time watching this, I was like, there were a lot of more interesting stories. That's like one of my like pet peeves is when they make a movie about something, and I'm like, and then there's like this other side thing that they introduce, and then they abandon it, and I'm like, no, that to me that's more interesting. Yeah, I want to see that.
Dirty Dancing. It's called Dirty Dancing.
Yes, the Dirty Dancing. It's such a much more interesting story than all the other stuff that's going on. I don't give a fuck about that girl.
Show me more about that guy carrying watermelons.
But in this particular movie, all I could say is like if they would have done here's the thing. If they would have done like a Marcus Aurelius movie.
Prequel?
Yeah.
Or
like
no, not even a prequel. Just literally made a movie. Like he didn't have to make it Gladiator. The fact that it's Gladiator feels like does feel like a cash grab. But if they would have made a Marcus Aurelius movie, I would have been like, yo, I'm in. And not connected it to Gladiator, and it would have, it's like, it wouldn't have been an action spectacle or a, combat thing or the Roman Coliseum.
Show me the Philosopher movie.
One thing
show me the conquest of Rome movie.
But it's a joke. It's a joke, man.
One thing that I'll say.
Yes,
one thing that I'll say is, and I said this the first time that you and I talked about this, Nery, is that because I hadn't seen it when you had told me about this movie, and I was on the fence about it, but then you told me that Ridley Scott did direct it, and then he told me that you liked it, and then I was like, okay, I think I'm going to give this a shot. And so I went, and
it made your top 5.
It did, but here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say. I would much rather see a good director swing and completely beef it than like just get on base. Because that means the next time that they hit, it's going to be a home run. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and it makes them more interesting.
Well, that's what I like. If you, because I know
Spielberg, for example, people like Spielberg, he makes a comedy, beefs it, and he's just like, I'm never making a fucking comedy again. Here's E.T. Here's Jurassic
Here's
Park.
Schindler's List. Schindler's List.
Like,
he went the other way.
Oh, okay.
I'll say this for any time that there's like this kind of revisiting of something 25 years later, there's the risk, and there's a couple movies on here that are like Beetlejuice,
Axel Foley,
like Axel F. Like these are requels. They are genuinely like reboots / prequels. If this movie had introduced, if it had been, I don't know, there's something about this movie made me wish it was something else, and then I just wanted it to, and I was like, all right, I just want to go back and watch Gladiator again. The first Gladiator is fucking great because it takes place in a very quick amount of time. Like it's super like condensed. It's very good. Like it's just a story about a guy.
I actually thought it was the other way around. I thought Gladiator 2, that was one of, I guess if I was going to give a critique, it would be like it happened really fast. I was like, there was no like multiple fights in a small dome and then they got invited to the Coliseum. It was like, he had one fight. all right, now we're off to the Coliseum.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
whoa,
all
that was
Coliseum.
fucking,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
Jesus
that's fair.
Christ. That was like, he's like, I
didn't
could get
show
you.
enough.
He's like, hey, what do you want? I want to kill the general of Rome. And it was like, okay, I could get that for you. Like, what? That's
Yeah.
like, yeah, this guy's like a super agent. It's like the guy
Yeah.
who's like, who gets. It's like that movie.
Weren't you just in a carriage with four
Yeah.
other slaves?
Yeah,
Like,
weren't you
3
just an
minutes
open
ago?
micer? You're an open micer. You're like,
Yes.
what do you want? He's like, I want my own Netflix special. I could get that for you. And then like,
get
what
that
the
for
fuck?
you.
Like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ,
Yeah.
like that
It's like,
fast?
whoa.
That to
Yeah.
me was my one critique. I was like, and that's the one time before they themselves, they meaning the film, started tying in the original Gladiator when it just felt like its own movie. The one time I harpened back to Gladiator was when I compared it, when I was like, I wish they would spend more time with him getting to the Coliseum. But when you watch the rest of the movie, you realize, because getting to the Coliseum was not the end all. He thought that was going to be the end all, and it's not the end all.
The story, the writing before the movie, where they talk about the two twin emperors, the death of what happens, that to me would have been super interesting. Like, there's so much. Like, I was like, okay, Anyway, the whole point of Gladiator.
Here's the thing, man. It's Ridley Scott. This is the same thing. The same guy from Alien, so he could technically go back and do the movie in between the movies, bro.
He could. He could do that. If they did a TV series, I'd watch that. I did a limited run
100%.
TV series. I'd watch
On
shit out of
Apple.
that.
It has to be on Apple because they
has to
don't
be on
fuck. Because Apple just throws money at everything, bro. Jesus
everything.
Christ, so much money.
Speaking of throwing money, my number one, which we've tabled already. Somebody mentioned it. Nery mentioned it. I'm gonna just go. Deadpool Wolverine is my number one. Yeah. Not because it's the best movie of the year, but it's the one that I loved the most. I just enjoyed. Yeah. It felt endgamey to me, like a reward for having been a nerd for 43 years, where I got to see all of this, like, and I think of it, I really hope it is the end of the meta reference movie, even though I know like the multiverse saga is kind of coming. Like, I want them to tie all these multiversal bullshits up. And the commentary in the movie was that it's like, we did the multiverse thing, Deadpool is a great character. It's not my favorite character, but it was the movie as a whole, the story it told, the saving of like the goodbye that it was to the Fox X-Men universe, the seeing Hugh Jackman be Wolverine in the costume, like it was a lot of like it felt very much like Endgame felt like a reward for having been watching the MCU for 10 years. This felt like a reward for an even longer amount of time. And so
man.
It felt great.
It felt great. There were things that I wish that we would have put in the movie. There were characters that I wish we would have, you know what I mean? Like, but I love all the jokes. I love the Electro jokes. I love the like, Daredevil, like, he died. Like, oh no, like that's all right.
It's fine.
And it was so good. So I love these little things that I had in it. I wish, and now with the revelation of Nice Pool, of what's happening behind the scenes. But I really, really would have loved if Nice Pool would have been played by Ryan Gosling. Not Ryan Gosling. What's his name?
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling.
Your microphone
I get the two.
Oh, okay.
I get the two Ryans confused, but Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
But if it would have been played by him, because all the jokes still would have worked, and like when he goes, bro, look at this face. If that would have been Ryan Gosling doing that, I think it would have been smashed through the. I mean, I love the whole movie, man. It was great. The fact there's another movie that the soundtrack is another character in the movie.
Yes.
I Like a Prayer. Holy shit, it's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic, dude.
That whole
even Bye Bye Bye, like that whole structure of Bye 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 was great.
So much of this movie is like it's an example, I think, of you can mix a cash grab with a love of something, right? Like, you can mix those two. Like that's one of my frustrations now when you see a property and you're like, man, this would have been so much better if it had been made by somebody who actually gave a shit. You know what I mean? Like
that's
there's certain.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I was gonna say it's almost like they made it with somebody who actually gave a shit about it. Like,
Yeah,
like-
and the fact that everybody this kind of has the Channing Tatum inside baseball. Channing Tatum talked
good.
like the whole Hollywood not giving a shot to people like different the fact that Logan is still one of my favorite movies. Like I think it's one of it's an incredibly well acted movie. It should have been nominated for an Oscar for best picture, best actor, best supporting actor for Patrick Stewart.
Agreed.
And they took a moment in this movie to show reverence and then immediately show irreverence. I'm like, yes, Daphne Keane comes back as X-23 and does like a loving tribute to the character she lost, and even now this is a different version of Wolverine. Like so much of it was great. I love it. Wasn't that I'm saying there's flaws, but it was my I loved it. It made me feel it was my favorite cinematic experience of the year. It was the excitement. My wife was even she didn't get all the references because she hasn't been a nerd for as long as I have, but she was watching me watch the movie, and she was like, oh my God, I could see the joy on your face. And I'm like, yeah.
You know what a huge compliment that my wife paid me is that we watched it separately because life and whatever. So when she watched it, and she watched it a day after I did, but she was watching it, she was live texting me as she was watching it. And one of my favorite, and it's not a look at me Louie, it's just I feel very happy that I got to help her, because she texted me, she was like, thank you for forcing me to watch all these movies in the last 15 years. And because this movie, and again, this wasn't a compliment to me. It was I'm so glad that she got to enjoy this. That's why it's not oh, look at me, I showed her all these movies. I'm so glad that she got to enjoy this movie as much as she did because of me forcing her to watch all. You know what I mean? She got all the references. She understood all the references. And to her, that was she literally is man, thank you for forcing me to, because I learned. And she watched it with some of her friends, and her friends were like, oh, I don't get that reference. And my wife became the nerd that was
became you.
Yeah. So when we just to tie it all back to in theater experiences, Deadpool Wolverine is what I love about in theater experiences and why you need 100%. To go to the theater. Because you will not have a Wesley Snipes moment if you're watching it at home.
You won't.
You will, but you're not gonna feel an entire crowd of people go, "Holy shit, it's him!"
Yeah. The eruption.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Not even scream, but just people. There was a moment when all of these people started coming out that everyone was just like, "What?
Yes.
What?" It was this. It was pretty impressive. Pretty impressive to be able to still get that from people.
The movie is a giant nerdgasm. It's
so
a giant nerdgasm.
I watched this movie in Europe. I was in Ireland, and I had just finished losing at the game show that I was on.
Okay.
The rule in the game show is once you lose, you immediately get kicked off the set. You're gone. They literally, you bring your luggage with you every single day because that may be the last day that you're there, right? And they kick you off, whatever. I got kicked off of the show. I lost. I don't want to say get kicked off, but I lost on the game show. As I'm walking off stage, because you're in the same building for hours on end. I don't even know what time of day it is. I go, hey, what time is it? And they go, it's 1:00. And I go, oh, I have time. They literally ask me, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Because they want to get your mental.
I have time.
And I said, oh, I get to go watch Deadpool and Wolverine. That was my response to losing $250,000 is I have enough time to go watch Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because it was the day after it came out, and I did not want to wait a weekend to, all the spoilers or whatever. But it was great, man. It was great.
The producer's cut. Can we do that again? Listen, Nery, can you cry a little bit when we ask you?
Need you to
can you put
just
I need you to
remember how much money you lost.
Yeah. You know what? Just pretend that it's 8:00 and you don't have time to go to the movie theater anymore.
No, don't want to with my wife.
But yeah, I will agree. There's a lot of these movies that I saw in theaters. Most of these movies I saw in theaters. Fall Guy I saw in theaters. That was a good time in the movie theater. But everything you said, Mike, about
about that's how I felt about Gladiator 2. Like I was so happy that I saw
Yeah.
this in theaters. I'm like, oh, I got to.
get
This
it.
is great. I got to experience this in the theater, and I got to see the sharks that is completely historically accurate in the Coliseum, and I got to say this is amazing. And I was just like, this is awesome. That's how
so
I felt,
funny.
man. I just loved the fucking feeling that it brought me. Just same thing with Deadpool Wolverine. I love the feeling that I got watching this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that I got to watch it in movie theaters. There's certain movies that I didn't get to watch in movie theaters, like Alien Romulus. I didn't get to watch that one, and I wish I would have. But again, man, the movie theater experience is just great.
So of all of the movies, in no particular
Twisters,
order.
by the way, Twisters it got beat out by Heretic that I just watched this morning. Twisters is another phenomenal movie theater experience. It was
movie theater
fucking
experience.
awesome.
That's a
sounds
movie
fun.
theater blockbuster movie for sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to see. I'm looking at all of our selections. Number one, the only one that was on all three of our lists was Heretic, so that's number one. Number two, I think of the highest average of that, it showed up on two of our lists, mine and Valdez's, was The Substance.
Yeah.
Gladiator 2, I think, is the highest average after that. And then The Fall Guy, which was on mine and Nery's list.
Well,
trying
Deadpool
to
Wolverine
think.
made all three of our lists, right?
Yeah, Deadpool Wolverine was all three of us.
Oh, okay. So then I think that, but technically it's below Heretic. So the top 5 of 2024, according to the WuBro podcast, we are going to say, let's say, number 5 is The Fall Guy. Number 4, Gladiator 2. Number 3, The Substance. And number 2, Deadpool Wolverine, with Heretic coming in at number 1 for 2024.
Great.
Not the list I was expecting for all
Me
of us.
neither.
Like the top 5 is it's interesting.
I'm not mad at the list at all either.
I gotta be honest with you. That's
Actually, you know what? I think Heretic might be number 2. Deadpool Wolverine. Yeah, Heretic's number 2. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
I'm
doing the
that's
math.
kind of the way I saw this. Like I made my list because I watched a shit ton of movies this year. I finished most of them, and I just love watching movies. But I really wanted to make it a point this year to include smaller independent movies or whatever, which is why I included Sweet Dreams and I included Knox Goes Away. But I really thought that if you, top 5, if you had to give me, after seeing Heretic, I'm telling you, I was watching Heretic and I was like, Mike is gonna love this movie. Mike will love this movie.
I did. It
I
was great.
I was like, I saw Conclave last week and I was like, Mike will love this movie.
Yeah, and it's true. Those movies, it's like, what's worth it to go to the theater now to me is the full cinematic experience, the special effects, explosions, visual, audio, all that stuff. But I want to watch somebody acting their ass off. Sometimes I want to see that on a big screen too, so I'm not distracted. You know what I mean? I think about if I would have gone to see Conclave in theaters, I would have been watching everybody's facial expression. If I would have seen Heretic, I would have been looking at all of the stuff in the background.
So
Because
here's the one thing I would say, and I saw Conclave on my phone, and I'm kind of glad I did. And the reason why is because I was able to rewind to read the fucking subtitles, because they went off like, hey, let me speak Italian. Like, bitch, you know goddamn well I don't speak Italian. Now you're here speaking this goddamn Italian stallion over here is going off on a tangent. It's
That's
like,
so
you
funny.
know this movie's made from, bitch, we get it. Say 3 words in Italian and then go to English. You know the rules. You have a whole, now you're going to do a whole 2-page fucking scene in Italian? Come on, man. So I'm kind of glad. In the movie theater, I would have been like, what did he say? What did he say? Oh, shit. I'm not a fast reader.
Well,
can you please tell me what the fuck he said?
I get the closed captioning devices, but that would have been on screen, I think.
Yeah, that's how I felt watching The Brutalist. I was like, I get it. You're Jewish. Speak in English.
Lord. Oh my God. Well, on that note, Mike, is there anything you would like to promote before we go?
Just go to my website, thekidfromup.com, and other than that, I have some shows that I'm doing. I have an improv show coming up. Next, what's up? Oh yeah,
No, it's just literally the reference. Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
his website is literally thekidfromup.com.
It's the kid from up.com. Yeah. My mirror works. I know what I look like. And so
I'm self-aware, motherfucker.
yeah. I have an improv show coming up on Friday. If you're listening to this, the day it's coming out, it'll be this Friday, the 7th of February. And I have a Don't Tell comedy show at the end of the month as well in
You're not supposed
Fort
to
Lauderdale.
tell.
Not supposed to tell anybody, but yeah, if you're listening to this, you deserve to know.
Yeah.
And yeah, there you go.
Fantastic. I'd like to promote, check out Zeros on Heroes Collateral Benefit, Zeros on Heroes, which I do with Will Watkins, where we're talking about fitness, getting in shape, but as all-encompassingly improving aspects of your life, and in some ways you weren't even prepared for. So you improve one area, it will collaterally benefit another area, and that you can check that out at Zeros on Heroes.
The substance.
Like the substance.
Yeah, because
we should talk about that on that podcast.
Yeah.
Nary,
Have
what
me
you
on.
got?
I'll talk
Yeah.
about
I got a show at the Dania Improv on February 23rd. It's called Nery and
So
Carlos
excited for that show.
Unscripted. Nery and Carlos Unscripted, where Carlos Hernandez and me are gonna do. He's gonna do his stand up. I'm gonna do my stand up, and then we're both gonna get on the stage with microphones and do an improv with the crowd, answer some questions. We're gonna have a preset questionnaire that we're gonna do a QR code to, and shit like what's the worst date you've ever been on, stuff like that. And then we could pull you guys up on stage, and then it's gonna be a lot of fun. So it's my first time venturing into this kind of show, so I'm a little nervous. But do me a favor, check it out, DaniaImprov.com. Get your tickets.
Just don't say anything horribly racist or
February
misogynistic.
23rd. It doesn't matter. Apparently anymore. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore.
I'll say this, man. I know you might be a little nervous because it's something a little like that you're not used to, and really nervousness is just excitement,
Oh no,
But,
that's
like,
exactly it. That's exactly it.
But
You're
bro,
good.
you are going to annihilate at that format. I can't wait to watch it. It's gonna
Thanks,
be
man.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking
Super
forward
fun.
to it. I'm looking forward
Well,
to it. So
ticket links are in the chat. You can check the chat on all the platforms. It's there. Links to Mike Valdez's link tree, or where the kid from Up goes. That's that. And you can follow us at wubropod on all social media platforms. Hang out, watch some movies. We're going to be doing this every week, so please subscribe, and we'll be notified when we go on online. Yeah. And also check us out, YouTube, Facebook. Check us out. We're on Blue Sky now, and you can get the audio podcast on all the audio platforms where you listen to podcasts. Thank you, everybody, for watching and joining us. Nery, take us out.
that's how winning is done.
That is how winning is done.